And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another day, another edition here of the Rongyi Cup Season 3 Group Stage, Group C. I'm, of course, just VIP with him, joined by these amazing players and by the people in the chat. Welcome, one and all. It's been an intense weekend of StarCraft, and over the past couple of days, we've been covering nothing but this event. For those that are curious, this is a $21,000 USD dollar tournament, a massive prize pool. 21K is on the line, and we have our 16 players facing off in the group stage. We have 4 groups of 4, of course, and they're all facing off. Top 2 do make it out. Bottom 2 are knocked out of the tournament. GSL group stage, full best of 3s to make it into the top 8, to make it into the playoffs. Oh boy, we already wrapped up Group A yesterday. We wrapped up Group B this morning, and now we're catching up with Group C. Let's go. Group C is going to be taking place, and of course tomorrow we're going to be live with Group D. Four groups, A, B, C, and D, to cover the group stage to get into the playoffs over the next couple of days. Oh boy. Here you go. So again, it's a full week of StarCraft, full week of Rongyi Cup. And up first, we do have our initial players. Actually, first things first, let's catch up on the group itself. True. Let's go. As you can see before you, un momento. Bam, beautiful. There we go. As you can see before you here, on my left, we do have our Group C. We have our 4 players. We have 1 Zerg in SHIN, we have 2 Protoss in Creator and Classic, and we have 1 Terran in Percival. Oh boy. Classic, of course, coming in as the heavy hitter. I would say Classic is the sure thing to make it through the group, but what about the others? You know, Creator and SHIN, I'd say, are relatively close in skill. Likewise, Percival has been spiking up when it comes to his quality and caliber of play. It was only last month in December where Percival did defeat Classic in the best of 5, so he's done it before. Can he do it again? I would say that Percival, he has the most upset potential in TvP. Percival, he has a very aggressive, very active style of Terran versus Protoss, and he has brought down many a top Protoss player with his TvP, so I'm going to be looking forward to that series, to that rematch. And meanwhile, SHIN versus Creator also going to be a spicy one. SHIN, he has been taking a bit of a different approach to a lot of these games, has been exploring his other options. Muta play, for example, has been very fond of mutas, so I do expect to see some muta play in that series. Creator likewise also does do his own thing and rarely follows the meta. Oh boy, an exciting set of players here. And again, 5 best of 3s. We have match 1, match 2, winners match, elimination match, and decider match. Oh boy. First things first, though, we are going to be jumping into SHIN versus Creator. Game 1 is going to be on the Old Republic. Let's go. Let us go. As we delve into our best of 3 again, hope everyone's been enjoying themselves. Hope everyone has had a great weekend as well. Again, it's been nothing but Rongyi Cup here on the CranKy Ducklings, and we are getting back into our regular schedule. We're getting there. Again, I'm still not fully available all the time, especially coming into next weekend. I already announced this, but Home Story Cup is coming up next weekend, and we have been the official B stream of Home Story Cup for the past couple of years, but we will not be able to cast this weekend. Unfortunately, I will not be available, but we'll get into that later on. As for now, we have our series. We have our best of 3 spawning in the bottom hand corner of the Old Republic. We have the South Korean Zerg player. We have the Blue Zerg going for the hatch block. Going for the proxy hatch. Representing himself, it is a SHIN. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the red Protoss player, the red Protoss himself. It is a Creator. As the droid moves in for the hatchery, and a Creator is not in position to block. His probe is being sent across the map. The hatchery has been thrown down. Creator is fully aware, of course. It's going to be on Creator to try to deal with this, to clear out the first zealot, to potentially even pull the boys. He opts not to. He opts not to pull the boys, throws down a second gateway, and we're getting ready for the counterattack. Okay. So a couple of things are happening here. First things first, typically a proxy hatch like this, a hatch block, is a macro build. It's going to be a hatchery into a gas pool, into a hatchery back at home. That is why Creator, you can see, is on patrol to make sure he blocks the expansion of SHIN. SHIN wants to expand, at least he's showing that to be the case, and Creator is there to delay. Likewise, going for the 2-gate follow-up means that we're going to have 2 zealots and 2 adepts. It does mean that we're going to be able to deal with this proxy hatchery quite easily, then counterattack. Now, the scary thing about the counterattack is, remember, this is a hatch gas pool build. The gases are going to be a little bit later. Link speed is going to be delayed as well, and without link speed, it's going to be a tough defense. It does allow Creator to have the potential to counterattack and to get some damage done across the map. There's SHIN expanding. As we mentioned, SHIN is macroing behind this. He is taking his base. This expansion, meanwhile, should be cancelled. Attempting to let it finish. There is a decent amount of HP, and there it is as a cancellation. Thankfully, doesn't lose those resources. Adepts are on the way, and again, that counterattack can hit quite hard. Now, we have seen players like Scarlet go for Spine Crawler defense just because your early game defense is so limited because you had to invest into that hatchery, of course. It means that Queens are delayed, Lings are delayed, Ling speed has begun, that will help, but again, we'll see how much damage he sustains. Can Shin survive the counterattack? So far, the Zelda's being kept busy. So Gas Geyser is under fire. Adepts are moving out. There we go, 2 Adepts taking 1-shot drones. And we have Shin going hatchery into another hatchery here. Back at home, we have 1 Queen. 1 Queen is in position. All the Lings are ready here in the main. Adepts they rock up at the natural. Can be the production. Ling speed is still in production. Yeah, there's a task force to cancel on that drone. But with all these Lings out, I believe Shin should be okay. He should be able to deny any kind of shade. As Adepts they threaten the shade, but Ling should force a cancel. Yeah, Lings they force a cancellation. Creator force back. He's at least denying any kind of mining here after the natural. Queens are moving in position. And Creator will shade away. And again, Creator has done quite a bit of damage. He forced out all these Zerglings. He forced earlier Link speed, denied mining time, of course, as well. Shin has some catching up to do. And Creator's not done. The Oracles are coming. The Oracles are on the way. And from here, we're trying to stabilize, trying to build back up. Again, it was a bit of a quirky start to the game, and both players are kind of stumbling their way in towards the mid-game. As Shin is investing into his spores, trying to re-drone, trying to resaturate. So Creator should be working on his 3rd base soon. Speaking of, there it is. Bird does move in. And Shin can't do much about it. Behind this, we do have a bit of an earlier Twilight Council and another gateway. This is a pretty aggressive response here. A 4th gateway going to be thrown down. No forge in sight. There's a very high chance it's going to be Glaives. This could be Glaive Adepts. Technically, this could also be Charge as well. It's a rarer sight to see Blink here just because there's no forge. But at the same time, the timings are off just because of the opener. Ooh, meanwhile, that's going to be a faster lair. Okay, so we just see it winding it back here. Shin is skipping his Evo Chamber. Skipping his Evo Chamber, rushing into the lair. If you remember, I did mention earlier that Shin, he is one that does like to play mutas. Meanwhile, Glaive Adepts are on the way. As we mentioned, it was either going to be Glaives or Charge. Glaives is the option of choice here for Creator. And I'm a little bit concerned. Shin, it looks like he's going to be delaying or skipping his Evo Chamber. No upgrades, no Roach Horn either. This could be a Spire, this could be fast Hydras, but whether it's Mutas or whether it's Hydras, Shin is going to be vulnerable to the massive amount of Adepts that are coming. Warps in the Stalker. Attempts to deny the Overlord Scouts. Another gas is being taken, and another getting to 5 gases. Again, what is it going to be? Hydrogen or Spire? I feel like none of those is a good option here, but there it is. Hydras. So Ling Hydra for Shin. That's going to be a little bit better, I suppose. But the real question becomes, how many Adepts? So far, 11. 11 Adepts. Lings, they do spot the move out at least. And they spot the move out. The Oracle does punish us around. Creator is coming. Ooh, Creator supply blocked. Yeah, brutal supply block here as he cannot warp in. Still has his 11 Adepts. Bailings are ready, thankfully. And Creator, he commits it all. Yeah, he commits the shade. You don't see the Bailings, and we got some massive connections. Shin will completely shut this down. Again, the Bailings are waiting. Creator, he took the bait. And with that, Creator is going to be completely shut down here. No economic damage. He gets 2 drones. That is not worth it. We have more Adepts trickling in, and these Adepts, they have potential, but Creator, he shades back home. He shades back home, and failing to do damage, Creator falls behind. these adepts that do not scale well into a longer game. He's now trying to get into Blink. We have a very late Forge, so late upgrades, Temple Archives on the way as well. I was concerned here for Shin, but thankfully he did make some safety banelings, and he was able to lure in the adepts, get those juicy connections, and now Shin takes a lead. Now, there's something that's happening here that I did take note of earlier. There's a 4th base, no drones. More importantly, no Evo chamber. Remember, we brought that up earlier. There's no Evo chamber. What does that mean? All in. It means that Shin, he has no intention of investing into upgrades. There's no infestation pit, no other gases, no Evo chambers, no upgrades whatsoever, because he plans on the game ending sooner. So it's going to be an all in here from Shin. Shin cutting workers at 55. You can see him transferring, but again, he is undersaturated. You can see here, undersaturation at the 3rd base. This is just for sure. So the all-in is coming. No bailing speed either. Intentionally so. No bailing speed. Station shots get baited out. Shin's moving forward. And Shin, can he connect with those bailings? Yeah, he can. He does roll in, going for the adepts. That doesn't quite go for the mineral line. That's a lot of bailings being spent, and so far, Creator, he is holding on. Oh no. Jesus. Okay, the Oracles do pull back. Clutch control there by Creator. Creator shuts out all the Link Bane. The Hydras are exposed. Now would be a time for adepts, to be honest. To work them in, Pat. But Shin, the all-in's being forced back. It's being forced further and further back. Creator's getting momentum. Storm is almost done. The +1 is on the way as well. The longer this goes on, the better it is for the Protoss. Ooh, as those 4 Hydras are putting in a lot of work. Oh no, there's no support. Yeah, there's no more support. The Hydras are going to go down one after the other. No Hydras left. And Shin, remember, he had no follow-up. He has no drones. He has no drones. He has no economy. He has no tech. He has no upgrades. He has nothing else. That's why Shin is gearing up for Wave 2. It's gearing up for Wave 2. But things are looking bleak here for Shin. How many had Templar? 4. There's 4 Templar, 4 Storms. Lings, they do slip in. The wall's not a wall. Yeah, the wall is open. Lings, they do peel off into the natural. More Lings into the main. There's a recall. Oh, looks like there was a bit of a pause. Hopefully everything's okay. Looks like there was a pause. At the same time, Shinny does deviate and he does rotate over towards the 4th base. There are cannons, there's shield batteries, there's Storm. Templar gets surrounded. Oof, does save itself. Or at least tries to. Templar buying time. More Lings, they slip into the main. Again, a very chaotic defense here from Creator. And amidst all this chaos, can Shin pull this off? Does get 10 probes. There's still Lings in the main. There's only 3 there. Just turn in 5, Babby. There we go. As Creator regains control of his bases. Creator still ahead economically, still has 4 bases, better saturation, a higher worker count. Shin, he's not really ready for this. He's not set up for a longer game. He's getting supply blocked, a big supply block here for Shin. And still 0 upgrades, right? Still 0 upgrades. It's time to gear up for Wave 3. And again, the soup does lie, right? The soup does lie. Shin, sure, he's up 20 army supply, or 20 supply, but that just doesn't really tell the full story here. Because of the storms, because of the defensive setup, Creator's army is getting better and better over time. So go +1, working now on +2. As we mentioned before, Shin, he has to end the game soon, or at least cripple his opponent. Lings, they're coming in from behind. Okay, we're setting up for this round. Setting up for this round here. Storm on the Hydras. Oof. Yeah, storms are going to be connecting, but that's a lot of Hydras. That's a massive concave. And the shield batteries aren't ready. Yeah, the batteries aren't ready. Lings are coming from behind. Creator is getting surrounded. Shin, can he pull this off? We need more storms. Oh my god. Another storm lands. The final storm. Yeah, that was the final storm. There are no High Templar left. Hydras that started stepping forward, and again, Shin, he might barely have enough here. I say that the Archon morphs in, massive Archon shots. Oh my god. The Archon himself kills like 5 Hydras. And Creator holds. Creator, he holds on, barely does hold. Did cost him all the Archons, all the High Templar. Immortals will arrive, and Shin, the all-in, is failing time and time again. He's been building up, but barely not enough. Nope. SHIN is still going for it. True. Gets a Stalker. He's still trying, Pat. Still trying. I mean, he has to. He's got to do what he can. Catching more Stalkers, not bad. We're the High Templar, by the way. There's only one Templar. Oof. Yeah, storming these zones. Need more Templar, need more Storms. But again, it's just the one. Creator, he does have a bit of a bank to work with. Where there's Warpins. It's fine, guys. Archons rock up, Immortals rock up, he's perfectly fine. And Creator, he takes game number 1. GG. Whew. GG, well played again. A very intense game number 1 here with the non-stop all-ins out of SHIN. As we mentioned, when it comes to the very beginning of the game, the plan was always to go for the all-in. SHIN, he never got an Eva Chamber, he never got any upgrades. He droned up to 55, he didn't even saturate his completely third base, he transferred over to the 4th instead, and did commit. As I mentioned though, unfortunately, the longer the game went on, the better it was for Creator. It was an easier and easier defense over time, and he did survive. More importantly, the first wave, right? The first wave did survive. GG. GG, well played. And now we're getting to game number 2. We'll see if SHIN can bring it back. We'll see if he can force the ace match. As we're alluding into Ruby Rock. Ruby Rock being one of the smaller maps of the map pool. Smaller map, shorter rush distance by grounds. Once again, aggression is on the mind. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Ruby Rock, we have the blue Zerg player, the blue Zerg himself, down in the series. We'll see if he can bounce back. It is SHIN. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the red Protoss player, the red Protoss himself from South Korea, leading the series 1-0. It is Creator. We go, just catching up with the chats. Shame, shame. I see Night Phoenix as well. Bienvenidos, bienvenidos. Quack. Night Phoenix. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. I hope you enjoyed your chess tournament or chess competition. I know that Night Phoenix, I believe, was a part of that. Basilisk did host a series of chess show matches not too long ago. So I hope you had a great time, Night Phoenix. What a delight. I see what you did there. See in the chats, will you be streaming the live matches in a couple of hours? No. Will not. As I mentioned before, we're going to be covering Group D matches tomorrow. We'll be covering that tomorrow. As Creator is just going for his gate expand. Jam. Good luck after my bunnies, man. Good luck after them. As this time, SHIN does go first standard opener. Remember last game, SHIN did begin with a proxy hatchery, which didn't really get the damage he was hoping for. As we mentioned, it was a bit of an awkward follow-up, and Creator tried to be fair, Creator, he did attempt to be hyper-aggressive in the aftermath with Glaive Adepts, which failed to get damage. So SHIN was in a decent position in the aftermath of that, but again, the all-in left much to be desired. Creator, he had time to react, to respond, was able to shut down the all-in. Oh. That's different. It's been a while. As the Creator, I did mention at the very beginning of the broadcast how Creator, he's the one that doesn't really follow the meta too much. He does things his own way. This is an example of that. Robo opener out of Creator. Now, this is quite rare. Now, back in the day, there used to be a build. Australia was quite fond of it. A lot of the NA Protoss players, and even a couple of the Koreans would sprinkle it in. Was Robo into Bay into a Colossus drop. So Colossus drop is going to be on the table here. Otherwise, we could see early Immortal production into Sentries, into a bit of a Soul Train 2-base all-in. So show us what you got. Speaking of Soul Train, Sentries. Yep, Sentry production has begun. So I'm leaning more towards Immortals more so than Colossi. Yep, there it is. Immortal production is on the way. Now, the Overlord from Shin sees everything. He sees the Robo, he sees the Gateway. Seeing a Robo this fast and this quick, bam, Roach Warren. So Shin, he sees everything he needs to, he knows, he responds, he reacts, and Shin should not overdrone. We should be seeing a third base just for lava. We should be seeing a handful of workers running up to around 40 drones at most, maybe 45 at most if we want to cut it close. But around 40 workers is what you're looking at, taking 2 gases and focusing on that Roach production. Building up that Ling Ravager. So we'll see when Shin stops droning. Likewise, the all-in is on the way. It is straight up just a 2-base all-in. We have 4 gates in production, 2 gates ready on, so 6 gates set up. 6 gates, 2 bases, Immortals, Sentries. Creator is about to send it. And Shin is actually cutting workers earlier. I was talking about joining up to 40, but no, Shin is going to be cutting at 33. This is cutting a little bit earlier. That is a bit of a concern that he won't be able to afford his Ling Roach. We'll see if he can. So again, Shin cutting up much earlier, which means he'll have an abundance of Lings, abundance of Roaches. One Ravager's morphing in. Shin going for the counterattack. Creator, he's all in. We got the Slowlings warping in as well. Shin, he will kill 1 gateway. Oh no, gets a free Ravager. Yeah, the Ravager's gonna go down. Nice pick up here for Creator. Lings, they try to come in from behind. They get a decent round on some of the Zealots. The Queens, they come in as well. And with help of the Queens, with the help of the Roaches and Ravagers, Shin is fine. Yeah, Shin, he's fine. He's holding on. There's just not enough here. Lings get a pylon. While does land, the Zealots are trading well for themselves. They're being efficient here, but there's just too much Zerg. There's just too many reinforcements. The Immortal is going to be targeted down. The Prism gets zoned away. He cannot juggle. And Creator, he will lose everything. The all-in is falling on his face. GG gets called, and Shin will tie up the series 1-1. We are going to the ace match. GG. Whew, GG well played. Again, Shin cutting workers early at 33, so 33 workers made a mass amount of Lings and Roaches. A big part of that was he did kill a gateway, so it meant that there were less reinforcements to warp in, but not just that, the initial engagement was solid to be able to get a surround on the Zealots, for the Queens to zone away the Prism, and I guess actually more importantly than all that, the scouts, right? Shin, he was able to scout that Robo as soon as it got thrown down, so he had so much time to react and to respond and to take it as seriously as he did, cutting workers as quickly as he did and focusing on that Ling Roach production. GG. GG well played. With that, Shin, he shuts down the all-in, and now we're going to be loading into the ace match. Oh boy. Yeah, getting into game 3. It all-in's here. It all-in's on White Rabbit. And spawning in the right-hand corner of White Rabbits, we have the South Korean Zerg player. We have the Blue Zerg tying up the series, surviving that all-in. It is Shin. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the Red Protoss being forced into the ace match. Can he bring it back? It is Creator. Here we go. So getting into that ace match. Once again, Shin is not going for the proxy hatchery, not this time. So we have a much more standard opener out of Shin. Likewise, Creator is calming things down as well. I do not expect to see a Robo 2-base all-in out of Creator 2 games in a row, but welcome to White Rabbit. This is a larger map of the map pool. There's a higher chance that Creator might play more macro-oriented, might even cut some corners and be greedier than normal. Are we feeling like Stargates into Fleet Beacon into Tempest Rush or something like that? Maybe. Regardless, on a larger map like this, again, a Stargate opener would make a lot of sense. But we've seen nothing but aggression so far out of Creator. Game 1, we saw a relatively standard opener after the attempted proxy hatchery, the attempted hatch rush. But we had a relatively standard opener into Glaive Adepts. Game 2, 2 base all in. Game 3, what's it going to be? As the probe is being as annoying as possible, taking some extra hits, so we got to be careful. Probe does take some damage. Overlord is going to be here at the initial pillar, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult here for the Overlord to get scouting. If you remember last game, SHIN, he was essentially here in between the bases and was able to get in and get a full scout of the tech. For now, it's going to be the Stargate opener though out of Creator, which is what we expected. Again, Stargate opener on a larger map, but the question becomes, is this just triple Oracle into a third, or are we opening up Void Ray or hiding some tech? Creator still does have options. So I was just cleaning my glasses, really trying to. As we do have our initial 2 adepts, again they can one-shot workers. 2 adepts, they can one-shot, and we do not quite commit to the shade. Backing of the Oracle is going to be on the way. That's a little bit better. We're getting to our oracles. The adepts are still being active. Third base is being thrown down. Everything so far is looking pretty normal. Everything so far is looking pretty standard. I'm really just looking at the timing of the Twilight Council. I want to see the timing. Creator just catching some tumors. Threading a shade. To threaten a shade. So far, the third base is almost done. Soon we should be seeing, yep, the Forge and Twilight Council. Standard build. Like, this is as standard as you can get. Triple Oracle, third base, Forge up +1, Blink, a follow-up here, a Twilight Council Forge follow-up with +1 on Blink. Everything's looking standard. What isn't so standard here is the Roach Warren. So typically in a standard game, you would be skipping the Roach Warren and going to the Evo Chamber with fast +1 melee. Seeing that we have no Evo Chamber and we have a faster Roach Warren and it is hidden in between the bases, there's a higher chance here that SHIN is going to commit into a very Roach heavy style. Now, extra gas is being taken, Lair is almost done. There is a chance here that this could even be Muta play. Like, Roaches into Aspire into Mutas is not unheard of, so we'll see if he goes into Mutas, we'll see if he goes into a Hydra Den. If this were to be Hydras, like, I'm a little bit surprised that there is no Evo Chamber, because we would see +1 range on the way. So I'm leaning more towards Mutas here, but we'll see. We'll piece it all together. As now we see the Evo Chamber, now we see the Hydra Den. Again, it feels like the chamber is late. It feels like the upgrades are going to be quite delayed here, as +1 is already in production for Creator. And it is a little more standard to get into those earlier upgrades. So Upgrade's going to be delayed, but at least there are going to be some upgrades. If we had only seen a Hydroden and only the Hydroden, I would assume that this would be like a Solar 3-base Hydra all-in. Like Solar, there's a build that he's quite fond of in ZVP where he cuts workers at 3.5 base saturation, does not get an Eva chamber, and goes like Mass Roach Hydra. Assuming we even do anything with the Eva chamber. Yeah, my attention. There we go. +1 range is on the way. Meanwhile, we have Creator going double Robo, double Colossus production. Again, this is a bit of an older school style. We used to see this a lot on Altitude. This would have been back like, what, in 2023? But it is going to be a very heavy Robo mid-game. And we'll see if Creator can get out of here. As SHIN, he's not droning. SHIN, he has a 4th base, but 0 drones at the 4th. He's droned up to 3 base saturation, 66 drones, but again, no other expansion. I did actually just mention Solo is quite fond of a Hydra based all-in, that it looks very similar to this, except when Solo goes to this build, he doesn't get the upgrade. He does not get the Evo chamber and does not get +1. So this is a bit of a more unique variation. It is still an all-in. SHIN is still not droning and still not saturating. SHIN is not set up for a longer game. It's all or nothing for SHIN. And it looks like +1 might factor in like in the middle of the fight. And SHIN is committing. Of course, Creator is aware. The longer this game goes on, the better it's going to be for Creator. He has to slowly build up his Colossus. And the Colossi are coming. Disruptor as well. The first Disruptor is already here. Shows Nova, Nova goes up, and we do get a decent, a very nice connection actually. Catching Hydras, catching Roaches, as SHIN, he gets softened up. And remember, SHIN, he has to end the game soon. Oh, the Ling. So Ling Rumba here into the main, not bad. 7 workers going to be going down. Biles, they do not connect. And nice dodge here from Creator. He does kite back. Ooh, another Nova connects. Another Nova goes off. Biles do graze the army, but alas, SHIN, who will lose every single Hydra again. The Novas were a little bit too good. SHIN is going to be forced back. The Ling Rumba killed 7 probes. That was not good enough. Not good enough damage. Creator is holding, and Creator, he's getting further and further ahead here. SHIN, oh, now he starts droning. Very rough here for SHIN. He now starts making workers. He's now trying to saturate. Infestation bits on the way. Lurker Den is on the way. The tech is late. The economy is late. The upgrades are late. Everything here is delayed. SHIN is in a very rough position. The soup is lying. The soup is lying to you. Essentially, there is a big window in time here now where SHIN is vulnerable pre-lurker. Lurkers are on the horizon, but they're not ready yet. So pre-lurker, Creator can end the game. As Creator is already on 2, soon to be up to 4 Colossus. So there's going to be a quadruple Colossus move out before lurkers. Or I should say before Hive Tech lurkers. As 2 Soakers get caught out. Colossus are amassing. It's going to be a very difficult defense here with Lair Tech lurkers, but it's all that SHIN has. We've got to morph them in as quickly as possible. Lurker Den is almost done. And here they come. 9 lurkers on the way. This is going to be, this is like the bread and butter. This is the backbone here of the defense. We need those lunkers back. That is assuming that Creator pushes. Creator, he's chilling. Creator, he's getting a 4th base. He's probing up. He's getting +3. Creator is actually not moving out. I feel like he could have. I do think that, again, Lair Tech lurkers can be abused. Their range is so low, and especially with so little support for the lurkers as well. There's not actually much to protect them. I do think there was an opportunity here, but Creator, he is choosing to max out. And we might even see Sky Toss. Like, we might even see a Fleet Beacon, 2nd Stargate, and Carrier production. Oh, okay. No, he does move out. Okay. It's a bit of a late push, but hey, he does force a cancel. Denies the 5th. He's got his 4 Colossus. War Prism is on the way. The Oracle's left behind to defend against the Lings. Not bad. Yo, we got our lair tech lurkers. Let's go. Lurkers are revealed. And Creator pulls away. Creator, he pulls away, going for his own 5th expansion. Just building up a death pool of an army, amassing up more immortals, more archons. Things they attempt to run by. As Creator tries to break in. SHIN throwing away all these Zerglings though. Toss from the way, the roaches at least do force a cancel. Creator, he rotates. Does find a free lurker. Lurker goes down. Vipers they get 1, they get 2, they get 2 abductions, but they just walk away. Yeah, the Colossus, they just step away, Mappy. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, Colossus, they just walk out. Again, there's no support here. If there were roaches, lings, hydras, anything else, they could add their DPS. But down goes the expansion. The abductions do nothing. Oh no, drones, they cannot get away. 29 drone kills. Likewise, roach counterattack. The oracles are in position. Creator, he defends against the roaches. He kills 29 drones and an expansion. And then he recalls. Recalls back home. I feel like he could have kept posturing. Like poking in, denying creep. But regardless, Creator is in a better position. Fleet beacon is done. Mothership is on the way. I feel like at this point we could see a 2nd and 3rd Stargate. To rebuild and remax on Carrier Tempest. That's the one criticism that I have of Creator when it comes to his production is just a lack of tech. Or just lack of production, I should say. Aside of that, though, he's been doing well. Yeah, bullying back the ground army. Ooh, catching out a lurker. Lurker goes down. We have a counterattack here across the map towards the 3rd. At the same time as SHIN also moving in. A bit of an awkward counterattack here. It's a little bit haphazard. But I mean, hey, he's doing damage. Likewise, when it comes to the main fight, Creator, he does come out on top. Kills the expansion. SHIN is gaining ground here at the natural, though. SHIN's moving in, he's gaining ground. Creator racing back home. SHIN has the high ground. He has the high ground. Zones away Creator. Creator turning back around. Hey, does find a mineral line. And it's getting a little bit dicey here. 25 drone kills, Jesus. Oh no, the boys, they pull into an Archon. Massive Archon shots going off. Another base goes down. And SHIN is all in. SHIN is all in. SHIN has no mining. This is the mining here. He's got the natural, he's got the main, that's all he has. Meanwhile, Creator, he has a fresh mining base on the right-hand side. Creator still has war pins. Tempest gets caught. Does catch the Tempest, and we're going for the base trade. Okay, never mind. I assumed the Creator was going to turn around and defend, but no, Creator, he commits to the base trade. He's going across the map, back at home. There are a handful of Hydras to defend. Honestly, there's not much to stop Creator. There's not much to stop him. We got 2 lurkers morphing in. They should not finish. Yeah, they won't. They will not complete. Creator chasing down the Hydras. Again, there's only 4 Hydras, down to 3. 3 Hydras left. We have a couple of lurkers morphing in across the map on the left-hand side. Yeah, lurkers are morphing in. These only buildings? SHIN down to 8 drones. Okay, the drones did evacuate. I was curious. But SHIN, he has no money. Just realized he cannot afford a hatchery. Yeah, SHIN, he's broke. Lurker's gonna be bullied back. Oof, massive storm on the Hydras. And Creator could try to go for the elimination. As Creator's bases are going down. Creator, he breaks out. He collapses on this army. This army cannot fight head on. As SHIN will lose everything here across the map. Oof. Got some brutal blinks. This Nexus here is getting low. And Creator looks like he's not really interested in killing all the buildings. He's just going to chase SHIN down. But SHIN has a couple of Vipers. He's got his Lurkers. Gotta respect the Vipers. And Nexus goes down. We just see Creator rebuilding his Nexus here in his main and his natural. He'll be forcing SHIN to move into him. As Creator is down to 2 probes. And 2 probes left over. But he's hitting bases. The Lurkers are on their own. Up! Doesn't get the storm off. Okay, do we land the feedback? Do we land the deduction? What's it gonna be? Creator, he attempts a flank. Oh! Nice deduction. Gets the Oracle. Creator does have an observer. We do get a feedback off. That's a dead immortal though. And SHIN, he's trying to gain control of the high ground. Wicked Wing for the surround. Yeah, Lurker goes down. Massive storms. Oh my god. Massive storms are going to be connecting, and the Lurkers are going down one after the other. Massive pickoffs. We're down to 3 Lurkers. That's the army. Yeah, 4. GG gets called. GG gets called. There's nothing left. And Creator, he will take the series 2-1. GG. Whew. GG, well played, congratulations. Creator, he does claim the series, does advance on into the winner's match. SHIN, he gets knocked down to lose his match instead. Again, a very intense game, a very intense series. When it came to that base trade, that was the best kind of chance that SHIN had, to be honest. That was the best chance he had to go for the base trade, to gamble for a win. Unfortunately, he had no money to make other buildings. He was forced to push into the army of Creator instead, into those final Nexi, and he just didn't really have the army to fight head on. His armor was so vulnerable, was essentially a glass cannon, right? There was no beef to the army. It was very fragile composition. A couple of well-placed storms. The surround, of course. GG, well played. And with that, Creator does take the series. And now we're getting ready for the next matchup here in Group C. Up next is going to be a PvT between Classic and Percival. We do have the rematch ready for you. Again, Percival did defeat Classic in Sparkling Tuna Cup December finals in that best of 5, but now they face off a month later in a best of 3. A best of 3 instead. Oh boy. Bit of a shorter, more condensed series here, and we'll see how our players will adjust. Percival notoriously is hyper aggressive in this matchup. We'll see if that trend continues. As spawning in the right-hand corner of the Republic, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss for Virtus Pro. It is Classic. And spawning into the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Terran player. We have the red Terran. It is Percival. See in the chats, Leland's in the YouTube chat. When was this played? Yesterday. The games were played yesterday, last night, like what, less than 24 hours ago. And we are covering them here via replays. We're doing the same thing tomorrow with Group D. So just catching up. Catching up with the chats. So far, we do have a single gas opener, so an economic start out of Percival, going for a Rax expand. Economic opener. Likewise, Classy just going in for the scout, being as annoying as possible. nothing crazy here in the early game. There's no eBay block, for example. There's no proxy pylon, no shenanigans, no double gas. Viper, want to hang out? Colossus, nah. With the poor Colossus getting abducted and they just walk away, baby. Ah, smooch. Could have sworn I was also watching this channel when I was in bed like 6 or 7 hours ago. We were live earlier this morning. True, true. We were live this morning casting Group B. If you missed it out, so the VODs are on YouTube, but we did cast Group B this morning. We are live. I think this is 5 hours later. I think we had like a 5-hour break. Now we have Group C. And again, tomorrow we're going to be casting Group D. Tomorrow. In like 18 hours or something. Like 16 hours, 18 hours. Something like that. This is going to be a great replay to study PvZ. I'm not so certain about that. I should say that the last series, we didn't get any standard play. I mean, you could argue that game 3 was like the most standard play out of creator, but even then his mid game was not standard. I was trying to emphasize that I'm going for that robo heavy style is a little bit more old school. It's not very meta, it's not very orthodox. Going for the double robo Colossus production, it is a lot more standard nowadays to go into Storm and then to go into Sky Toss a little bit faster instead. But at the same time, I also do have to recognize that the meta is shifting, right? The meta is shifting. It is becoming more difficult, or I should say that more Protoss players are being punished for going Storm. It is safer now to go Colossus instead of Storm, just because Storm does less damage. It is still a powerful zoning tool, but especially on some of these other maps, like you could argue that it's not good enough to survive and to defend, and going to Colossus is considered to be safer, right? Just a safer way to get into the late game. But in general, like a lot of the matchups have been shifting in the most recent patch, referring to PvT, referring to PvZ. We have been seeing that shift in the meta. Now, for example, there are some players that are experimenting with more heavy disruptor play as well. But for now, Classic just going for an economic start. Do you see what I see? I see 1 gateway in the main, 1 gateway with a natural, 2 gate blink. So very greedy here. 2 gate blink into a third base. That is a robo after the third expansion. This is very greedy. Very, very greedy build here. Greedy play out of Classic. It's on Percival to attempt to punish. And we'll see if he can. We have our triple Widow Mine drop. Stim has begun back at home. Percival, he sees the timing. He sees how fast the third base is. It's almost done at this point. So now he knows it was a greedy build. But again, the question is, can Percival do anything about it? Welcome to the Old Republic. This is a much larger map in the map pool. Larger map, longer rush distance by ground. It's difficult to punish a greedy player here. Percival is getting up to his own 3-1-1. Now, Percival, he is continuing tank production. Interesting. So what's interesting about this is that tanks, they don't really scale too well into longer games, so you often see players kind of transition out of tanks early on. Stalkers, they blink into the main base. Can we get Stim? Oh, we can. Yeah, Stim is going to go down. Massive pick up here as we have 2 more volleys. The body blocking. Yeah, massive body blocking here. The tech lab goes down. No, at the same time, mine drop into the mineral line. I'll get some probes. 4 probes go down. This is nice damage, but oh god, the medevac won't escape. Yeah, the medevac will not escape. It's okay damage here. That was, I want to say 3 Widow Mines. Yeah, 3 Widow Mines and a medevac for 4 workers. I would say a better trade for Classic, and on top of that, he also denied Stim. The Stalkers are still alive. No, the misrally. Be careful. And Percival, he's stuck at home. He's stuck at home. Third CC has begun. If Percival, if he wanted to go for a sim timing, now he can't, right? The sim timing is come and gone, and Percival is contained. He's contained against a player that went for a greedy build. So right now the soup is lying to you. Right now the supply is quite close between Classic and Percival, but that doesn't really tell the story. What is Classic doing? He's already on a 3-base economy. Classic, he's getting a bay, he's getting a forge, he's getting upgrades, taking a bit of Colossus, he has map control, he's containing Percival, even here threatening to blink and threatening to pick up some units to get some Marine. Gets 2 Marines, pulls away, doesn't lose any Stalkers. Classic is looking very comfortable. Now Percival, he does peel off a drop. Does peel off, he does sneak out across the map. There is a chance for some damage here, but Percival, he desperately needs some damage. At the same time, Classic taking his 4th base. Remember, Percival doesn't even have a 3rd. Like, he doesn't even have it up yet. As Medevac goes down, nice catch here from Classic. Cleaning up the drop at the same time. Liberator does get into the natural, not bad. Gets 3 probes. Ooh, but won't get away. Oh, yeah, does not get away. Barely gets sniped. We have a bit of a give and take here, and we're getting some damage. Like 3 probes is okay, but the Liberator still went down. Meanwhile, Percival, he did lose the entire drop on the left-hand side as well. So in the end, this is still a better trade for Classic, and he gets away with a +4th. The 4th base is almost done. Percival, meanwhile, is still landing his 3rd. He's floating his 3rd base over. Classic now moving out with Colossus. As Classic has to be careful not to overextend. Gets 2 Widow Mines. Takes down 2 mines, pulls away. As first we're getting caught out of the map, there's no need to be out here. They're losing a medevac. Charge, let's say, dive in, they catch out the mines. One does survive. And again, the win condition here for Classic is just contain. Classic doesn't need to push into the tank line. There's no need to push into the tank line. Classic does not have to push up this ramp. He just has to contain Percival on 3 bases. Meanwhile, Classic getting a 5th. 5th base is on the way. No extra gases. A very heavy kind of zealots reinforcement point. 2nd robo disruptors are amassing. And again, Classic just has to play it slow. Just play it slow. Oh my god. Yo, Classic, calm down. Do you think he's upset about losing that best of 5? Do you think Classic double expanding right next to the Percival? He can even set up shield batteries here and start to harass. Ay, ay, ay. Classic, calm down, buddy, calm down. Zell drop into the main, recalls back home. Getting up to 10 SCV kills and he's still not yet done. 14 SCVs going down. Critical damage here just for a handful of zealots. That was only 4 zealots. Now Percival does expand, does take that center base. The observer does confirm this, and this should be Classic's target. So he's dropping once again. No turrets. Ooh, yeah, there's no turrets in position. Drop into the natural. Drop into the main. Does he go for the warp in? I'm sure he's tempted. Yep, does go for it. Goes to the warp in, and here comes the main push. Diving on the front lines, diving on the tank. Tank goes down. Do get a couple of EMPs, but disruptors are ready. Disruptors got his Novas. Nova goes up. Oh my god, massive connection. The army clumped up, took down one disruptor, but not the other. Yeah, the other Nova went off. With that, Classic, he pulls away. Again, a better fight here for Classic. And he can just reinforce. He can just keep warping in. He's got an abundance of minerals. Zalsek catch at the mines. They head towards the 3rd base. At the same time, Classic once again pushing forward. Can he get the tank? One more volley and he can. Oof. Tank goes down. Zealous is still trading well. Classic getting a 7th expansion. And you just keep hammering away at this low ground base. Now, something that Classic could do, I don't think he needs to, but something that he could do here is take some extra gases, throw down a Fleet Beacon, and get ready for Sky Toss. But honestly, there's no need, right? Like, Classic still maintains momentum. He still maintains map control. And he's still trading well. If at any point Classic fails to push through and fails to trade efficiently, then we can start getting worried. But for the most part, Percival, he's still out in the open. Percival is still very accessible. Classic going for an 8th expansion. Zealous to hit the would-be 5th base. Prism into the natural. Gets past the turret. Does slip by. Main army pushing in. Zoning back the army. Getting into with a ramp. But yeah, it takes control of the ramp. Takes control of the natural. We have 5 disruptors. 6 disruptors even. Oh god, the Novas are connecting. Oh god. The Novas are brutal. The Novas pop off. Zealot reinforcements come in. Vikings are going to be forced to land. And a Classic has done it. He has broken the army. GG. Classic does take game number 1. Whew. GG, well played. A very strong performance here by Classic. Winding it back, a lot of this came down to the early game. If you recall, the initial Mind Drop play wasn't really too successful, but not just that. Remember, Classic was actually being quite greedy. He went for an opener that is not really seen anymore. It's quite rare. It was very, very popular, very trendy last year, but Classic, he went for a 2-gate opener. He went 2-gate blink into a 3rd. Very, very economic, very greedy play, I would say nowadays. It's a build that fell off just because of the rise in popularity of all-ins. If you remember, it was last year. If you remember last year, there was a period in time where we saw nothing but all-ins in TVP. It was around the era of DreamHack Dallas, like around DreamHack Dallas, pre-EWC. There are a lot of all-ins there, and because there were so many all-ins, Protoss players stopped going for 2-gate openers, but we saw it come back here, and Classic got away with it. Didn't just get away with the 2-gate opener, but he also shut down the Mind Drop. The Mind Drop didn't really get much damage either. Classic took a massive economic lead, and right after that, denied Stim. So if Percival wanted to be aggressive, he couldn't. He couldn't be aggressive, he didn't have Stim, was stuck at home. GG. GG, almost then and there, right? Like the setup, the foundation for that game was all leading into Classic's direction. It was all leading in his favor, and from there just snowballed out of control. Snowballed out of control, and with that, we're now getting into our next game. Going to be loading into Winter Madness. Here we go. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Winter Madness, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss. Representing Protoss Pro, it is a Classic. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran player. We have the red Terran. It is Percival. Now, when it comes to Percival's strengths and when it comes to where he does thrive, I would say is the early to mid game. Percival, he is a traditionally hyper-aggressive player. We see Percival pop off with all these all-ins time and time again. 2 base all-ins, 3 base all-ins, pull the boys. That is where Percival does excel, and that is what I wanted to have seen from him in game 1. It just took a little bit too long to recognize what was going on. So coming into game 2, I expect to see Percival adjust, and I expect to see something more aggressive out of our Terran. But we'll see. We shall see. As Classic pokes in. Single gas opener out of our Terran. But I feel like last game was just a good example of how important the early game is. TVP especially can be very momentum based, and once you start getting momentum early on, once you get a really good early game, then things can very heavily swing in your favor. This goes both for Protoss and for Terran as well. Ooh, as Percival, nice kill. Does kill the initial probe. That should not have happened. Nice pick off out of our Terran player, going Marine first into Reactor. Percival, he does not go for the Scout. As you can see here, no SCV Scout, no SCV Scout, and no Reaper Scout either. Basically, Percival's going to be playing blind until he gets Hellions up and running or drop play. For now, he does check the nearby proxy location, making sure there's no proxy gateway. There's that factory follow-up. And Percival, he's being quite greedy here. He's being quite greedy. Oh, okay. I can get behind this. A greedy build, 0 scouting, as efficient as possible, and he's going for a second Rax. Now, what does this mean? This is a second Rax before Starport. That means that we are prioritizing Stim. Really fast Stim, really fast Marine production, and we could even go for a third Rax before Starport. Yep, there it is, third Rax. This tells us that we are going to be heavily delaying the medevacs, delaying any kind of air supportive units in favor of Stim, reactors, combat shields, mass Marines. This can very easily turn into a 2-base all-in where you just pull the boys. You go for a big Stim timing, you pull the boys, you commit, you double down. But this is a very aggressive build here by Percival. And again, this is what he does best. It's what he does best. It's what he is known for. Meanwhile, Classic, how many gateways? So far, 1 gate getting into Blink. We should be seeing a second gateway soon, and it feels like Classic is going for another greedy build. He's dancing with initial units. There it is, a 2-gate blink. A 2-gate blink into the third base. As a reminder, this is the build that Classic went for last game. This is the build that I would say is out of meta, was very common, very popular at the beginning of last year, at the beginning of 2025 and 2024 as well, but did fall out of favor for good reason. And I feel like we're about to see why. I mean, we'll see. If Classic can pull this off, it's going to be crazy. But again, yep, there it is. There's that third Nexus. Before the Robo and before the third gateway. So hyper greed out of Classic. This is essentially the greediest build you can go for. Like 1 gate into a third base is no, that's illegal. That's just straight up illegal. No shot. We do have a starport on the way, so this tells us that Percival, he might not pull the boys. If there was no starport entirely, then we could just pull the boys and send it. The starport tells us that there is going to be some support here for the Marines. As there's the add-on swap. Add-on swap into medevacs. Stim is almost done, and we're going to be moving out with that Stim timing. And again, it is imperative here that Percival finds damage with this. He needs to at least break the third. At least break the third base. He's still building up more Marines, more Marauders. Classic, he fans out a couple of units here to scouts. This is for scout. Jesus, Classic just now going into the main. He has seen nothing, by the way.
I'm here in the shadows.
Classic moves in, and now he does somewhat confirm. There we go, he sees the production. He knows. Classic now knows. Behind this Classic going into charge. I do think that this is probably the best follow-up you can go for, is a very heavy Zealot composition. And warp in as much as you can instead of waiting for Storm. Like Storm as a follow-up is very greedy, very greedy. So you got the gateways, the Bay, the Colossus. Classic, he needs more time. And here comes Percival. What do we have? We have 23 Marines, 4 Marauders. This is going to be hitting with Stim. It's going to be hitting with combat shields. +1 is going to finish during the fight. Let's go. It is going to be go time here. Behind this Classic, he's going to have a handful of Stalkers. Charge is going to be done in time, but we need those warp-ins. Okay, here they come. Warping the Zealots. Percival is moving and he scans. Does spot the army. Oh, and he goes for the late boy pull. Okay. he does pull the boys, but far later. So it's going to be a late boy pull here from Percival, but it is a 2-base all-in. Again, I assumed that he wasn't going to go for it because he had the medevacs, but no, it is just going to be a later pull. This will hit with +1, and it's all or nothing. And remember, there's no splash damage. There's no splash damage here, but there are some force fields. Nice force fields. Choking up the army. Uh-oh. Yeah, the army's choked up. Percival still trying to commit through. Does break through the sentries. That's a lot of Marines going down. Base Sims in. Yeah, he Sims in. He breaks through the front lines. No more sentries. There's one Colossus, though. Yeah, there's one Colossus. STVs are going to be going down. We get a decent spread. The third base is under fire, but he needs that Colossus. He needs to get in. He's so close to doing so. There's no battery. There's no shield battery here. Break through the stroke points. Does get on top of the Colossus. Colossus barely goes down. And Percival, he has done it. He breaks through the natural. Colossus falls. The Robo as well. And Classic trying to get away with greed. He fails to do so. I appreciate that Percival did go for the boy pool. Did go for the 2-base all-in. Did punish the greed. Did punish the greed of Classic. Takes down the Robo. Depowers all the production. Liberators have arrived. And we're going to the ace match. We are going to the ace match here as the natural is completely broken. Again, there's nothing here at the... I was going to say there's nothing at the third base. It does recall. It does recall some probes to safety. Has some mining going on at least. Go, let's go. We still got some SCVs. Force field on the ramp, but the army just drops over. Elevators over the ramp, but pushing into the main. Snipes the bay. And with that, he does slow step forward. There's only, what, 3 Stalkers left. Down to 2. Down to 1. Down to 0. 0 Stalkers. GG. And Percival ties up the series. We are going to the ace match. GG. Whew. Again, hyper greed here from Classic, going for the 2-gate blink opener. I mean, again, we saw it in game 1, and he got away with it. To be fair, Classic did get away with it in game 1, but here in game 2, this is the downside of going for the same build 2 games in a row at this level of play. Your opponent does adapt, right? Your opponent does adapt. So Percival, he took note of the greed of Classic in game 1. He did decide to go for a much more aggressive build here in game 2. Once he realized and confirmed what was going on, to decide to pull the boys as well. Again, a bit of a later boy pull here. Because it was a little bit later, it did kind of lure Classic into a false sense of security, where Classic, he had minimal defenses, so minimal stack defense. Specifically, there was no shield battery at the natural base, for example. You know, he was saturating up to 3 bases. GG. GG, well played. And with that, we're going all the way to the ace match. Going to be loading into Ruby Rock, one of the smaller maps of the map pool, and no shot, Classic goes 2-gate blink. No shot. No way, papi. As spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Ruby Rock, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the Blue Protoss representing Team Virtus Pro being forced into the ace match. Can he bring it back? It is Classic. As spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Terran player. We have the Red Terran representing himself. It is Percival. Rongyi is China or Taiwan. The Rongyi Cup is a Chinese event run by SC Boy. SC Boy, they're like the Chinese commentators and content creators in StarCraft. So they are running the event. It's an online tournament, but it does have an offline portion. It does have an offline final specifically. It has an offline finals. We'll get there. Here we go. See in the chat, SCV well played. Well, I mean, if you weren't quite watching the game, then just once again to re-emphasize, Classic was being hyper greedy, was being excessively greedy, I would say. And I mean, hey, he got away with it in the first game, but again, it was punished for it in game 2, which is why we should be seeing Classic evolve over the course of this series and go for a bit of a safer build here, especially on Ruby Rock. Right, this is a much smaller map, shorter rush distance by ground. There's a higher chance and a higher likelihood of Percival being aggressive on this map. So we should be seeing 3-gate blink, maybe even a Robo before the third base, or maybe even 4-gate blink out of Classic. So we should be seeing more gateways earlier on. Meanwhile, economic opener out of Percival going for the tech lab, going for the early marauder. So essentially what's happening here is that Percival, he's going for a greedier, he's going for a more economic opener. The probe scout of Classic does confirm the CC on the low ground, and Percival is hoping that Classic is going to try to punish him by moving out with the initial gateway units, and Percival wants to catch that initial unit. So he wants to punish the punish. But unfortunately, Stalker. Stalker not adept, so he's going to be staying back home. Classic is just chilling, setting up, shield batteries on the way, scouting on his side of the map, and not actually moving out. So in the end, this opener isn't really too worth it. Oh, but we do have a 3 racks follow-up. Okay, second and third racks. Now remember, last game we had a very similar build. Last game it was a racks into factory into second and third racks before the starport, which led into the stim timing, which led into the 2 base all-in. Here it's very similar, except even more intense on that bio production. Big delay on the factory. Big delay on the factory. Very fast stim, faster than last game, so fast stim, fast marine, fast marauder production, a heavy bio force early on. This used to be the go-to build back in the day, back on Site Delta. If you remember, that was back in 2022-ish era of StarCraft. Kira would 3 racks all the time, with mixed success. So again, a very heavy bio composition. If this gets scouted, I would say that this leaves much to be desired, but it's a hyper-aggressive build. And can kill. It can kill an opponent if they're being greedy. Unfortunately, do you see what I see? Robo on 2 bases. How many gateways as well? 1 gateway in the main base. We have 1 gateway at the natural so far. 2 gate blink. But we have a very, very important difference here. For the past 2 games, we have seen a 3rd Nexus by now. But this time, Classic is going for a faster Robo, which means he has access to early immortal production. Early immortals, the earlier observer for scouting information as well, and even potentially faster bay for faster Colossus. Oh my god, as you can see here, 2 more gateways, 4 gate blink. 4 gate blink on 2 expansions, so as you can see here, a much more aggressive build by Classic. So aggression versus aggression. Who do we favor? It's a harder one to call. It does come down to who scouts who and who is able to interact first, bearing in mind that Classic did not make a sentry. So no sentry, no hallucination scouts. Classic doesn't see anything. Like Classic, he sees nothing right now. And sorry, man, that's a 4 gate. Sorry, 4 gate, 4 racks. We have 4 gate versus 4 racks. I assumed it was just going to be a 3 racks, but this is going to be a 2 base all in. Okay. Firstly, he might just pull the boys. He might pull the boys with this. That's going to be a lot of Marines. Yep, there it is. The boys are being pulled. A 2 base all in here by Percival. Classic, he has no idea. Classic, he sees nothing. And the armies, they pass by each other. They're passing by. Classic, he does get eyes on some of the army. Nice catch in the Marauder. Big pickup. Gets a Marauder, gets a Marine. Every unit counts. And Percival, he ignores. Yeah, he ignores the army. Oh, there's a recall back home. Classic not realizing something's wrong. He recalls back home. Oh, Observer gets spotted. Remember, no sentries, no force fields. Nice focus firing here on one of the Marauders. That's 2 Marauders going down already. And the boys are being pulled. The boys! The probes versus the SCVs. Robo gets depowered. A Prism goes down. And does Percival have enough here? He's getting on top of the Stalkers. Gonna be zoning them back. We're down to 3 Marauders, down to 2. Oh, yeah, very low Marauder count. Yeah, 2 Marauders left. Nice target firing here by Classic. More reinforcements have arrived. It's getting close, but every stim is killing Percival. He cannot stim for much longer, and he fails to kill. Yeah, he fails to kill in the end. Nice focus firing towards the end, but Classic, he holds, he defends. There's no SCVs back at home. To be fair, Classic also doesn't really have any probes either. True. Low economy for both players. Percival trying to get the hell out of here, losing another Marauder. Hefty losses for Percival. Oh, does punish. Gets a Stalker, but we'll lose another Marauder. Oh, does he get it? He does. Oh, God. Messy. Very messy trades here. Messy trades. Messy fights. Not Ronaldinho, papi. As we have, again, Storm is on the way for Classic. That's going to be a big power spike for the Protoss. And we're in a really awkward kind of game state here. Bearing in mind that Percival does have mules. Jesus, as you can see, he's muling very heavily to sustain himself. It's a lot of mules. Ooh, Percival coming in from behind. Okay. Trying to force the stim. I'm sorry, trying to force the blink. It does force it. Yeah, it does blink into the army, and with that 1, 2, 3, 4, every Stalker goes down. Massive catch here for Percival. Classic with his pants down. The pants were down. Classic losing everything. Now it's go time. Now it's go time. Now we send it across the map. Does he pull the boys again? It's not really much to pull. That's not. But now it's go time. What do we have? 4 Marauders. Oh. 4 Marauders. Still no medevacs. Remember, it was a 4-axe. So heavy delay in the factory, delay in the medevacs, delay in the starports. Classic is holding on. He's holding on back. Remember, Storm is complete. He's got 3 High Templar. He's got 3 Templar, soon to be 3 Storms. Classic not getting into his 3rd. Building up into his 3rd base, getting ready for a backstab as well. And we're macro. Okay. I guess we're just gonna macro up, Pappy. Okay. Sure, why not? Classic gets a 3rd, so does Percival. We're just macroing from here. Do we slow things down? Do we get into the mid game? Is that what's about to happen? Sure, we get a Prism into the main base. Percival, he is somewhat in position. We lose some mining time. I just realized he's a slow lot. The slow lot harass, Pappy. As Percival does defend. Getting ready for his own run by. Jeez, that's a lot of storms. I was talking about maybe the game slowing down and getting into the mid game, but with this many storms, Percival, he could be broken. Classic can break through. High Templar, they get scouted. Percival, he wants one. Gets one. Yeah, 1 High Templar for all those Marines, but there's still so many left over. That's 5 Templar, at least with 1 storm each. So at least 5 storms, soon to be more than that. Percival, he has to heavily rely on these ghosts. EMPs. If he can EMP the High Templar, then he can survive. Does spot the Observer. Oh, the High Templar going to be safe from the EMPs. They're going to be safe. Actually going for the Storm Drop into the mineral line. Okay. Yeah, Percival pulls away in time. This is so risky. This is such a high value prism. Jesus. Classic. He does race back home and he should recall. Jesus. He should recall back. There it is. Classic. You're playing with fire, Pappy. Calm down, Pappy. Calm down. Now we're building up. Classic getting his 4th base. Percival getting his 3rd. There's still 8 High Templar. That's still an insane amount of Templar here. And again, one of the features of Ruby Rock is just how open the 3rd is. It's a lot more open, a lot more accessible. Classic gets tempted. Sorry, get spotted. Same time, Storm Drop into the mineral line. Ooh, catching out 12 SCPs. So workers go down. Nice EMPs. Very nice EMPs. All the High Templar get called out. Snipes as well. Clutch save with the Archons. Very clutch save. Ooh, and Zelter overwhelming. Yeah, Zelter overwhelming. Flanking Storm as well. Ghost getting called out. Massive pickoffs. Losing 3, 4, 5 ghosts. Oh my god. Has so many ghosts go down. Expensive losses there for Percival for both players. Percival losing ghosts. Classic losing High Templar. Still very tense, but there is a storm in the chamber. Oh, EMP does miss. EMP misses. Storm sends away. Nice snipe on the High Templar. Okay, there's 1 Templar left. He almost has a storm ready. He's Gasito. Yes, oh no! Templar gets sniped, no more storms, Archon goes down, and Percival, can he break through? Ah, the Colossus has arrived. Yeah, the Colossus makes it just in time. Classic, he will hold on. We have a second Colossus rallying in as well. Boys are being pulled. We get a bit of an F2 here. The Observers, they move in. And Classic holds. Again, a very messy defense. Very messy. But he's holding on. And as time goes on, it's getting better and better for Classic. He's about to have 4 Colossus. He's making 2 at a time. That's a lot of Colossi. Meanwhile, I believe this is the first pair. Yeah, the first pair of Vikings. Medevacs getting caught out. Ghost as well. EMPs are landing. Just some nice EMPs at the same time. Zealot does hit the mineral line. Percival getting distracted. The entire army turns around. As that is going to be another 6 SCV kills. 6 SCVs. Now we've built up to 4 Colossus. Now we have Immortals on the way. Soon to be Disruptors. And Percival, he's not there yet. He's got 5 Vikings. We'll get 1 Colossus. 1 Colossus goes down. We had a decent EMP. As the storm is zoning. Once again, while they're distracted, Zealot comes in, but there are Widowmites to defend. Nice defense here by Percival. Still very tense. The Immortals are amassing. Immortals are building up. Very nice EMP on the High Templar, forcing out 2 Archons. But there's still a storm left over. There's still storms. Another EMP lands. Okay, the EMPs have been impressive here from Percival, but Classic, he still has the freedom to warp into the main base. He still has a better economy. Classic is now maxed out. And he can soon start to push. And he can soon start pushing. Zealots in the main, Zealots at the 3rd base. More SCVs are falling. This is getting out of hand. Classic taking more bases. Double expanding even. Getting that 5th. Getting a 6th. Soon we'll start building up that bank. Now, what I can't believe is that we got to this point after the 2 base all in. Like, we remember Percival, he pulled the boys, Pappy. He pulled the boys. Went for the 4-ax stim timing, 2 base all in. And hey, it almost worked. Like, he almost killed Classic then and there. It was very close. And then we reach a game state where Classic is maxed. Percival, he's still no head there. Like, I still do favor Classic in this position. But Percival is on the way. Oof. Does lose a ghost. Storms are landing. Once again, ghosts are exposed. And Classic, he's moving in. Yeah, last we saw that Percival, he wasn't ready. He wasn't ready for this fight. His army was out of position. Wasn't expecting the main army to move in. That was a rough fight here for Percival. Once again, storms are landing. Brutal storms. Percival is stimming in. Once again, storms they punish. Percival split out so many ghosts throughout the course of this game. There's only 1 ghost left. There's no EMPs. No EMPs, only one ghost. Speaking of, down to 0. Yeah, 0 ghosts left. The final one goes down. Nice drop here out of Percival. Does get some damage, does distract, but the main army's coming in, and this might just not be stopped. Yeah, classic, he will not be stopped. He's pushing up the ramp. We've got, what, 4 Immortals, 5 Immortals even. 5 Immortals, 2 Colossus. A massive Protoss death blow of an army. GG gets called, and classic, he will take the series 2-1, advancing on into the winners match. GG. Whew, GG, well played. A very intense back and forth. Game 1 was a little bit more one-sided. It was. Game 1 was more one-sided. Classic looking very comfortable in Game 1 from almost just the beginning of the game, knocking down the aggression, getting away with greed, and punishing Percival, denying stim. Game 2, we saw Percival punishing Classic and was able to go for his 2 base all-in and caught Classic with his pants down. Here in Game 3, we saw aggression from both sides. It was 4 racks out of Percival, and it was 4 gates out of Classic. Like both players were committing on 2 bases, so it was a really awkward game state. In the end, that did favor Classic. He was able to micro well enough. He was able to shut down the all-in and expand from there. It was still very close and still very shaky, but for the most part, after the initial defense, Classic was in the driver's seat. Like Classic, he had the freedom, he had the better economy, so he had the freedom to go for Zealot run-bys and Zealot drops and War Prism harass, and just kept expanding. And to be honest, even though there was a lot of posturing with the armies, the bases where Classic were left alone. Right, his 3rd, his 4th, his 5th, his 6th towards the end, like his bases and his economy was left untouched, so he could just keep trading, replenishing his army, building up, and overwhelming. It's able to overwhelm. GG, well played. Whew. And with that, a Classic does take the series, and that leads us into our next match. Let's go. Let us go. As we do quickly switch our scenes over and catch up on the brackets. Okay, so winding it back here, initially Creator he took down SHIN 2-1, Classic took down Percival 2-1. We had non-stop ace matches, and now we have our winners match and our elimination match. We have Creator versus Classic in the initial series to make it into the playoffs, and we have SHIN versus Percival to find out who is going to be the first player eliminated from Group C. Remember, this is a GSL group, so top 2 make it through into the playoffs. Bottom 2 get knocked. Top 2 make it through into the playoffs. Bottom 2 are eliminated from the tournament. Oh boy. And up next, we do have the. Up next, we have the elimination match. Okay. So it is going to be a best of 3 between SHIN and Percival. We go. We have our best of 3. We have our TVZ. Okay. For the first time tonight. Again, we're going to be jumping into the PvP afterwards. It's going to be elimination match, then the winners match. Spawning in the top left-hand corner of Title Citadel, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the Red Terran. Whew. The return himself. It is Percival. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have his opponents. What's going on? We have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player. We have the madman himself, the blue Zerg representing himself. It is SHIN. Going for the proxy hatch. Oh boy. We're moving in with the drone, we're coming in with the proxy hatch, so hyper aggression out of SHIN, and we'll see how Percival does react. We'll see how he does respond as the hatchery is on the way. Here we go. Now, this proxy hatchery here is often seen against Protoss. It is a lot more commonly seen against Protoss, and we even saw it against Creator in the previous series, in the first series of the broadcast. Seeing it here against Terran feels a little bit weird. It feels a little bit weird, it feels a little bit odd. Percival, he's setting up on the high ground. He has yet to scout, yet to confirm, and we'll see how SHIN makes use of this hatchery. We'll see. I'm still not entirely convinced, as it's going to be a hatch, a gas, a pool opener out of SHIN. So standard gas and standard pool timings. So I'm just setting up for the other matches. SCV moves down, does confirm, and again, Percival can always just get his CC on the high ground. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like this, like this doesn't force the unnatural natural. This does delay somewhat just because it has to be a high ground setup. But Percival, he actually pulls the boys, but this is a very late reaction. Okay, he does pull the boys. With this, he's going to be losing a lot of mining time here. The hatchery does complete. Remember, SHIN is expanding. Like, SHIN, he didn't go for an early pull timing. This is not a spine rush. It's not a spine rush. It's not anything overly aggressive here. So you could argue that this reaction, with the boys being pulled, this means that this is worth it. Like, SHIN, he's denying. How many workers are mining? 8. Only 8 workers mining. This is doing so much damage, and the Broodlings are about to spawn in. The Queen gets cancelled. We have some Lings on the way. Broodlings that will zone away. They zone him back. Now, what this does, it does 2 things. It does deny the Queen. If you remember, the Queen was in production, and if the Queen was allowed to finish, we could spread creep. Like, SHIN, he could start spreading creep from across the map and make this just very annoying to deal with. Hello. As Lings are amassing, SHIN, he is not droning up. He pulls out of gas. We have Ling speed on the way. And SHIN, does he make more Lings on the low ground? He does. He's going for a Ling flood. Okay, again, you have my attention. This is a quirky setup here, but we have purely Lings on the way. Looking at Percival, he is coming in with the SCV, and he should confirm what's going on. No, he doesn't get in. I feel like with this SCV scout, it might be worth checking the mineral line. Just commit. But he fails to check the mineral line. We have Percival back at home going for a 2-on-1. That is a second Rax before the starport. Yeah, 2-on-1 into early stim, which means no Hellions. Oh, no. Yeah, there's no Hellions here. Purely Marine to defend, which means it's going to be more ideal for SHIN. SHIN, oh my god, doesn't get in. Barely doesn't get in, but he has control of the low ground. SCVs will go down. Takes down the SCVs. Plenty of Marines to defend. SHIN attempts to come in for the surround. Boys are being pulled. I believe Percival should hold here. Yeah. Does hold on. Does hold, does defend. A bit of a messy follow-up. Now, because all those Marines went down, how many dead Marines was that? 8. 8 Marines do fall. This will mean that the stim timing is going to be weaker, right? There's going to be less Marines to move out, less Marines to be aggressive, so this does actually weaken the follow-up here from Percival. But at the same time, all those Lings could have been drones, right? We could have seen a stronger economy here for SHIN instead. And a faster third. Ooh, that's a very late third. This is a very messy game. It's very, very messy. And who do we favor? On the one hand, yes, the stim timing is weaker for Percival. At the same time, no third. Like, the lack of third means that the economy is limited, the production is limited as well. The tech is late, the upgrades, like, everything is just, it's very messy. Everything's just very messy here for SHIN. It's turning into a very wonky game. Everyone's getting messy. I think I still favor Percival though. Like, just because of the late gas income, it means that there's no lair. There's no lair. There's no +1 carapace being done ready for the stim timing. Like, this stim timing is brutal. What is it to defend? Okay, high queen count. I was like, there's not many Lings. There isn't. We do have 5 queens though. Soon to be 7. All right, there's soon to be 7 queens. So with that high queen count, SHIN, he should be able to hold on. Should hold. Widowmine does borrow. Nice zoning here. You don't want to waste that Widowmine shots. Mine shot on the queen. Queen goes down. No transfuse. Ooh, second queen goes down as well. Massive pickups. Medevac does barely get away. Does get away here. The medevac is, oh my god, gonna pull back. Lings, they get punished. Better trade here for Percival. Here come reinforcements. And Percival has momentum. He's killed 2 queens. Cleaned up most of the Zerglings. One of my shields about to reset. And it does. Another queen goes down. And another. This might just be game. This might just be too much because here come the reinforcements. Medevac goes down, but here comes another drop. Only 2 queens, 2 out of 5. Only 2 queens left. Shows the mine shots. Friendly fire. Ah, the unbar. Yeah, does unbar, doesn't waste the shots. Once again, unbar is going for the queens instead. Retargets the queens. Oh my god. Another queen goes down, and another. Is that 5 dead queens? 6. 6 queens go down, 64 lings. And technically SHIN does hold, he does survive, but that was again a very messy defense. And Percival is not stopping. He's not stopping, he's rallying across the map. He knows how close he is to killing SHIN. SHIN is morphing in slow Banes. Baneling's speed had just now began. Why is it so late? Because the lair was late. Why was the lair late? Because gas income was delayed. Like, it all just kind of plays into each other. I'll show some. The light shot! Yeah, nice retargeting. Very nice retargeting. Oh, good. Nice retargeting, but Baneling's do still connect. As Percival, he was not able to focus fire. And SHIN holds. SHIN, he does hold on. Again, a very clutch Baneling connection earlier. SHIN, he's holding on. Percival is still in a better position. Percival, he has a 3-base setup. He has a higher worker count. He has mules as well. So Percival straight up just has the better economy. So the Terran has better economy. And likewise, we have 1-1 on the way as well. There's a lot of pressure on SHIN. And gets away to mine. Takes out a mine. These Lings are out of position. Uh-oh. Yeah, Lings are not home to defend. The 4th base may be cancelled. The Banelings! Oh my god, hot pickup. Oof. Okay. Hot pickup. The mine shot goes off. A brutal mine connection. But SHIN is holding. He's rebuilt his queens. 7 queens. May have lost 6, but hey, he's built up 7 queens here to defend. He's okay, but he's okay. I'll be honest, I'm not used to seeing Zerg players react this heavily and rebuild the queens this heavily either. Like, if we were casting Solar, for example, he'd have like 3 queens. Like, he, after losing those initial wave of queens, like, he would not necessarily reinvest. He wouldn't reinvest. Would just drone heavily instead. To recover. SHIN is still trying to hold on, still trying to survive. Again, SHIN is still behind. Ooh, forcing some friendly fire. Oh god, as the Banelings are going to be cleaned up. Now the double drop on the top side. Let's focus on the Banelings. Gets a queen. Not quite. Yeah, queen does go down. Picks off what? 3 Banelings. Speaking of queens being rebuilt, oh jeez. I'll pick up at a Percival, but again, he's once again hunting down those queens. Still hyper aggressive, going for a tri-pronged attack. We have a double drop in the main as 1 medevac gets focused down. We have a drop on the left, and we have the main push in the center. Ooh, but both medevacs go down. There's the 4 medevacs. Massive losses for Percival. Mine shots going up. Nice target firing. Drop on the left. Oh, not quite paying attention as all the Marines go down here. SHIN, better fights for the Zerg. SHIN takes some better fights. He cleans up both medevacs in the main base. He was able to kill all the Marines on the left and force back the main army in the center. So better fights for SHIN. As Percival is still rallying. Claiming his 4th base. SHIN getting ready for his own Baneling run by. And again, it's still very tense. Very tense. As Banelings are rolling in, Percival, he Doesn't react. Yeah, no reaction. Bailey's taking it in. Massive connections. 12 SCVs go down. A nice run by here by Shin. Nice run by as Percival was distracted. 15 SCV kills. 15 SCVs. Percival rotating over towards that linear third. Going for the hatchery. Oh, hatchery goes down. Nice target firing. So, jeez. As he does take some Baileys to the face. Less than ideal towards the end, but Shin, sure, he gets 15 SCVs. At the same time, though, Shin, he will lose an expansion down to 3 bases. So again, we're still getting down and dirty here between both players. 3-3's on the way. Percival still has the superior upgrades. Getting to 3-3. Still being active. Shin double expanding. Rebuilding his third, not getting a fit. Percival, his eyes are on the right-hand side. As the main army does move out. Drop does load up into the main. Percival shifts over towards what would be 5th base, and he will force a cancel. Oh, as Medevac goes down. There's a cancel. There's that cancellation. Shin, he's over on the left-hand side instead. He's going for his own counterattack. Back at home, there's a planetary, but there's not much support here for the planetary itself. And Percival, how does he react? What's the plan? Percival, he has some reinforcements back at home. Oof. Nice mine shot. Mine shot connects. So Shinny rotates over towards the 3rd base, so Percival's in position. The tanks are sieging up. Ooh. Decent mine connections on the Lings. Bailings, they connect with the tanks. Rough Bailing connections there. Better for Percival. Percival stims in. He will lose the mineral line, though. A lot of SCVs go down. But Percival, he should be able to defend. I say that we have more Bailings coming in from behind. Oh, they connect mainly with Marauders. Yeah, not the best connections here. Marines, they're trying to hold their own. And once again, we're getting very messy. One tank goes down, but Percival, he holds. He's trying to. The Lings are trickling in as well. Shin, he has barely broken the 3rd base. Yeah, he breaks the 3rd. He keeps on rallying in. 22 dead SCVs, and Shin may have just done it. He may have just done it here. Say that we have some mine connections. +3 is denied. Still more Ling Hydra rallying forward. Still rallying in, getting on top of another tank. Another tank goes down. Oh, we got some ghosts. We got some snipes. A couple of ghosts have arrived. And Percival, he does survive, but again, his economy has been crippled. He lost the CC, lost over a mineral line. 28 SCV kills. Not just that, +3 was denied. True. Did lose one of the key bays. Did lose an eBay, and Percival just going straight for the counterattack. Just going for the counterattack. So we got the 1 Marine, 1 Marauder drop. Let's go. Again, there's just not much left over for either player. Supplies are still very low. Percival, a lot of his army supply are in medevacs. He's retained a very high medevac count. And he's got a lot of ghosts, true. All these ghosts they can snipe. If they can get within range, they can snipe the Hydras. Meanwhile, the Hive has just begun. 15-minute Hive, let's go. Bailey's attempt to connect. Drop goes back in, but the drop is cleaned up. Again, there's just not enough fire here to threaten. Oh, as the Widowmine shot even kills a medevac. Jesus, you can see how low these medevacs are. And a massive fungal. Yeah, massive fungal. Medevacs are finally going to go down. Shin, he catches him. He catches Percival. Oh my god. Barely not able to clean up, but again, a brutal fungal. no fungals left though. Uh oh. No fungals remaining. Nice snap of the infestor. Okay, there's 2 fungals coming in. Decent connections here. Lings are coming from behind, and once again, Shin, he should be able to hold on. EMP here on the infestors. Couple of ghosts remaining. And Lings are just they flood on in. They flood on forward here, catching out the Marines, locking down the ghosts. There's no answer. There's no medevacs. There's no evac here. There's no way out. Massive connections, and Shin, he cleans up the entirety of the army. He cleans up happy. And that fight should have been it here. Shin now he has hive tech, he's getting more infestors. Shin's economy is still a little bit lacking. On the one hand, you might be looking at this and be like, oh, Shin, he has a healthy drone count. That is true, but he's oversaturated, right? He's oversaturated. So he's not mining efficiently. That's why this has been as close as it is. Percival taking another base. Okay. They'll take another expansion. Shin attempts to expand as well. Now, can Percival recover from here? He still can. As I mentioned, the problem here is that because of Shin's lack of bases, his economy is still lackluster, so it's taking him a lot longer to max out. Likewise, it took him a lot longer to get into Hive Tech, so he's maxing out on a very Lair Tech composition, Lingbane Hydra. Lurker Den has just not begun, but still on the way. So late Lurker Den, late Lurker upgrades is going to give Percival time to try to recover and get a fresh base. It's getting a fresh base. Likewise, Percival just ensuring there is no gold. Drone goes down, denies the gold base. And catching out a couple of overseers. Getting into the middle line, drone's going to be going down. Shin is out of position. He commits. Yeah, Shin, he commits in. He at least tries to. As a result, bleeding out a lot of drones. Again, there's going to be 8 drones going down. The Marines are still alive. Shin, he fails to push into the bases again. This choke point, this high ground is brutal here. Pushing into these 3 siege tanks is not going to be easy. Not without Vipers or not without some Brood Lords. Again, Shin is maxed out, but as I mentioned before, Shin is maxed out with a very mid-tier composition. Percival does have a much more efficient army, at least currently. Oh. Let's catch out a couple of Marines. Percival catching and expanding and taking another expansion. Taking another base. Shin finally going for the gold. This is going to be denied. Overseer into the main base, going for more Nidus Worms. See Percival trying to hunt down that Overseer. I believe he can snipe. Yeah. Cannon will snipe the Seer. Yo, I can't believe that both players have maxed out. Like, there have been so many intense moments in this game and so many low eco situations and low supply situations. If you recall earlier, I was like, oh, yo, that's game. When Percival got fungled in the center, but he lost all his ghosts. But as we brought up, like, Shin didn't have the best economy either. So, like, he couldn't really keep going. Couldn't keep pushing. Another overseer behind the base. Gold base is denied. Percival does take note of the Nidus. And Shin is going for the planetary. Planetary will go down and massive connections. Takes down a planetary, catching out some of the bio, but that was a lot of banelings spent on a base. What about the army? What about the main army here? As Percival's main army is massive. Going for his own counterattack. Picking up drones. Catching out one of the lurkers as well. A lurker and the Nidus. And again, just better trades here for the Terran. He's got his freedom, got his liberation. Percival able to remax. And finally, we're looking at Broodlords. Spire, it's so late. 22-minute Spire. Let's go. We're thinking about Broodlords. I mean, that's again the direction that we're heading in. Hydras, they step forward. Catching up with the Liberators, but only one. There's still so much more freedom here. There's so much freedom. And we're running out of bases. Oh my god, massive mine shots. Once again, Percival gets eyes on the would-be gold. Lurkers are in position. They will defend. Those who defend. Percival's main army pulling its way forward. Spire is just now finishing. We can then work on the greater Spire. If that's the plan. Which it should be the end goal, but I don't think SHIN can get there. It's just so far away. The snipes are popping off, banelings go down, SHIN is just being bullied further and further back. The Mass Ghost Liberator is just too efficient, it's too good. Again, what can SHIN do? He can fungal. Does land one. Okay, gets us around. It comes in, gets one, gets two ghosts. Only two ghosts go down. He needs more fungals. Where are the infestors? There's still two. Only two infestors. They're not quite in position. One of them does come in from behind. And fungal will land. Massive fungal. Fungal pops off. Hot pick up, saving most of the ghosts. Now we've been here before. The ghosts are just going to dominate here, catching out the infestors, pushing forward towards the ghosts. Nice thing, counterattack catching reinforcements. Very nice. Oof. Let's catch some reinforcements. But these lurkers are so exposed. Where's the scan? As the Liberators are getting on top of the lurkers. Tanks will punish. Hydras are being forced in. Sure, there's a fungal, but there's no follow-up. We just tank the fungal, and GG gets called. SHIN, he has nothing to defend. And Percival, he does take game number 1. GG. Hi, papi. GG, well played. What a wild game. What a wild back and forth here. Again, it was 24 minutes of just almost non-stop aggression. Remember, winding it back, we had SHIN opening up with the proxy hatchery, blocking the expansion. We saw that Percival responded with a 2-on-1. SHIN, he was caught with his pants down. He had a very shaky defense, losing 5 queens in the defense. Was it 6? 6 queens were killed in the defense. And we saw that Percival, he just never let up. Never let up with the aggression, non-stop drop play, back and forth. We saw some successful drops, some other drops were less successful, did fall in their face, did fail, which is why we had that back and forth. Initially, we had some better engagements in the mid game by SHIN, catching out the ghosts, catching out the army, but again, he was also losing a lot of drones, losing a lot of bases. He didn't really have a stable economy to keep going, and in the end, Percival, he stabilized. He stabilized, he got into ghosts, and remember, SHIN, he had a very late hive. Very late hive, very late lurkers, very late lurker upgrades, and very late spire as well. So the quality of the army of SHIN remained very low. It was a very low quality army from SHIN, which is why he struggled coming into a later game. And he tried to tech up, but it was so late, just because, I mean, SHIN never planned for the game to last that long. The game was not meant to last that long, and as a result, SHIN was not ready for the late game. GG. GG, well played. With that, we're going to be loading into game number 2, going to be loading into White Rabbit. Here we go. Here we go. Spawning in the top right hand corner of White Rabbits, we have the red Terran player. We have the red Terran himself leading the series 1-0. It is Percival. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Zerg player, the blue Zerg. It is SHIN. Here we go. And again, a very, very intense game 1 here. Very intense, very back and forth. That was crazy. That was wild. And in the end, Percival, he barely did come out on top. As you mentioned, SHIN, he just was outscaled over time. Never got the goal base, never had an amazing economy, and never did tech up either, or he had a really hard time teching up. But now we're slowing things down. Again, SHIN, he did pop off early on with a proxy hatchery last game. Now we're going for a standard opener instead. Going for a 15-15. More standard. So 15 hatch into a 15 pool into a later gas geyser. Now he might even choose to go gasless. Eyes are on SHIN. Eyes are on SHIN here. Gasless openers nowadays are a little bit rarer. I would say the gasless openers are very map dependent. And it looks like we are going for a very late gas geyser. Okay. Does still take it, but much later. So gasless openers are usually seen on maps like Crimson Courts, maps like El Dorado, maps that you do have almost a pocket expansion, and you can kind of segment an area off and freely expand at the third location with minimal threats and minimal aggression. The reasoning for this, or the reason why you want to do this on safer maps, is because of the late gas, late link speed. Right, link speed is going to be delayed, which means your response and your defense against Hellions is going to be much weaker. You're heavily reliant on queens early on and slow links to keep up with the Hellions, which is often why you do typically see this on more defendable maps. Seeing this here on White Rabbits, we'll see if SHIN can get away with it. We'll see. I'm not entirely convinced. He might even skip link speed and go for an earlier Roach Warren. That's another option. See how he spends his gas. So now he's getting his first set of queens. And again, you can see SHIN, he has 0 Zerglings, as he does actually stay in gas. Okay, pulls out. So we have link speed on the way. He only pulls 1 out of gas. Interesting. Usually you pull 2 out. You pull 2 or sometimes even all 3 out of gas. So the fact that we're staying in gas here is interesting to me. This can lead into a really early lair. This can lead into like a 3 15-minute lair timing or 3 20-minute lair timing. This queen is about to pop out. And does SHIN go for a lair at 100 gas? Because again, SHIN, he's going to have a lot of gas early on. If he goes for a fast lair, this could be indicative of a Link Queen Nidus all-in, or it could be indicative of 2 base Muta. As the Reaper does barely get away. Percival, I believe he saw the gas. Yeah, he saw the gas was continuing to be mined, and there it is. That is a 320 lair timing. As we mentioned, so he stays in gas, 320 lair timing. This does look like either a Nidus all-in or 2 base Muta. He's getting a second gas geyser. With 2 gases, you can't afford a Nidus Worm. Otherwise, if we take more gases, that's more indicative of Muta play. Meanwhile, back at home, 3 CC 2-on-1. So this is an economic variation of an early Stim timing. We have Stim on the way, we have Mass Marines on the way, only 2 Hellions, I believe. Yes, only 2 Hellions, so a very, very low Hellion count. Third gas is being taken. Looks like Mutas. Does look like a Spire. But Percival, he's not fully aware. Now, he should have noticed that gas was still being mined, which is very unorthodox. The third base is also very late. So late third base, extra gas is being mined. Percival, he's gathering pieces of the puzzle here, and it should lean towards Muta play. Oh, my apologies. Not Mutas. He's going 2 base Hydra. Mia Mike, is that you? Okay. You know what? Mia Mike actually showed up. Was it yesterday? He showed up when we were casting Trigger, if you recall. I want to say yesterday or the day before. He showed up in the chat after years. I checked his chat history, And Mio, he hadn't been in our chat since like 2023. It had been years back. It had been years. So, you know, maybe some Mio might get influence here. It's possible. It's possible. So 2-base Hydra. This is very committed. This is very aggressive. As you can see, there's no Evo chamber. There's no upgrades. Rush into mass Hydra with upgrades, and this can kill. This doesn't really scale too well into a longer game, but this does have a really strong, a really potent timing attack available to your Shin. Let's go. Now, where this can excel, especially in DBT, was the scan does reveal the Hydras. Okay, big scout here for Percival, he knows. But the big weakness here for mass Hydra like this is a higher tank count. But remember, this factory is only just now making the first tank, right? Like, there's been no tank, there's been no factory production because of the 2-1-1. So a heavy marine count instead. This may benefit Shin. Shin does go for the run by. Okay, so the run by goes to the counter attack. At the same time, Percival does stim in. Gets an Overlord. And the Hydras have arrived. Gets the first tank. Yeah, first tank is exposed. Massive pickup. Tank goes down. The Marines are being forced back. And Shin, he may have just done it. Like, that's it. He got the tank. That's all he needed. He got the first tank, and now he's pushing on forward. The eBay is going to be going down, and Percival is getting caught with his pants down. Almost a hard counter. Remember, Percival, he went for a 3cc 2-1-1. He went for a mass marine army instead, and we can see the boys being pulled into the Hydras. Every SCV here is going to go down. We're trying to repair. We do go for the mass supply. Does call down the supply. Both eBays go down. And this is too much. Yeah, this is too much. 24 SCV kills. Both eBays. Army is stuck at 0-0. So 0-0 upgrades. Hydras, they pull back. And Percival has been crippled. He hasn't been killed, but he has been crippled. He's down to 39 SCVs. Again, barely an economy. Now Shin can chill. You just chill, back up. There we go. Now we have Baneliness on the way. We have an infestation bit as well. That can be for lurkers, or otherwise that can just be for hive tech for vipers. So he does move out. Catching out 2 Overlords. Supplied looking Shin. Oh my god, the laser lords. We have 7 Overlords on the way. There's the fast hive. But again, Shin is looking very comfortable here. Getting a 4th base, taking up, but going for Microbial Shroud as well. Okay. I'll be honest, it's been quite some time. It's been a long time since we've seen Microbial Shroud in competitive play. First time of the year. True. First time in 2026. True. Shin is going to be the first to max out, and it's going to be a difficult defense here. We're setting up tank lines, we're setting up liberators. This is where my Microbial Shroud will actually help when it comes to breaking the siege position, as we can just throw down all the Microbial Shrouds and then just rush forward. And again, I'll be honest, I haven't actually seen Microbial Shroud used this way in competitive play. Like, I think when we had the first change made, I think we saw it attempted with ultras, like maybe once, and it did not work. I think that's it. Like I think I saw Microbo Shroud used once at DreamHack Dallas last year, maybe. But I'm here for it. So you have to, speaking of ultras are on the way. Shin is maxed out. Because Shin is this far ahead, I feel like this should work against the tank line, against the libs. Right, I should emphasize as well that for those that are unaware, Microbo Shroud used to only work against air-based units, but it was changed relatively recently. I want to say last year. Was patched. And now it's almost like Dark Swarm. It's a little bit more like Dark Swarm than before, where it works against all range damage. Not just attacks from the sky. So again, it is useful to break these siege lines. It has its very niche uses. And is Shin being too passive? We gotta go soon. Okay, we got Blinding Clouds, we got Microbo Shroud. Tanks are on siege. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, tanks leading cores on siege, mass Blinding Clouds. And with that, the tanks will go down one after the other. I'll be honest, I don't think the Microbo Shroud helped here because everything was on siege anyway. Like, I'll be honest, I don't think that was really a factor at all. But regardless, it was cool to see the spell being used as the ultras, they break through the siege line. GG gets called, and we are going to the ace match. GG. GG, well played. Again, it was really cool to see Microbo Shroud, but as I mentioned, because the tanks were caught on siege anyway, I don't think that influenced the fights. I think, but regardless, was cool to see. I mean, especially because like he threw down the Microbo Shrouds and then he blinding clouded the tanks anyway, so like so they couldn't attack regardless. But GG, well played. With that, we're going all the way to the ace match. Again, winding it back, Shin was able to take a massive lead earlier when it came to his Hydra timing. Winding it back, remember, it was a 320 layer timing into 2 base Hydra, into a very strong Hydra timing, and Percival got caught going 3CC 2-on-1, which means he had no tank production. His factory production was very limited. He only had Marines, and he got caught with his pants down. That was game. That was game then and there. The game continued for like another 5 minutes, but again, the deciding factor was much earlier than that. And now we're getting into the ace match. Here we go. This morning in the bottom right hand corner of Winter Madness, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the Red Terran being forced into the ace match. Can he bring it back? It is Percival. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the blue Zerg player, the blue Zerg player himself. It is SHIN. Here we go. So is Microbo Shroud the one that reduces range damage? Yes. In the past, it used to. I say in the past, for the majority, over the past couple of years, it did reduce air damage, specifically damage dealt by air-based units, but was recently changed to range damage instead. I'm more of a Brood War watcher than IC2, so I thought this new Microbo Shroud would catch on because Dark Storm is so good in Brood War. Unfortunately, it takes a little bit too long to really get online, especially when it comes to ZVT, for example. There's a little bit more pressure on you to hit as quickly as possible. So for quite a lot of last year, we did see a lot of early ultra timings, and you couldn't necessarily wait for Infestors and wait for Microbo Shroud. Like, you kind of had to go for that timing and hit as quickly as possible to try to break the Terran before they would mass up a massive amount of ghosts, right? If you remember, those ultra rushes that we saw last year would hit pre-ghost. Even the game we just saw, like, right, there were no ghosts involved. So like that's kind of what you would go for. So Dark Swarm, I should say Microbial Shroud didn't really catch on. Same can be said against like Sky Toss or in ZVP. In ZVP, just because our splash damage works, Microbial Shroud doesn't really have a place in it. And typically if you're up against Sky Toss, you want to get out of ground units anyway. You want to take to the skies and go into Broodlord, Infestor, Viper, right? So unfortunately, Microbial Shroud is a very niche upgrade, very, very niche. Which is why I appreciate that we saw it. Even though it is better, it's still, yeah, it still is finding itself. I do know that a lot of the European players were actually playing around with Microbial Shroud Ultra in ZVP. This was last year, maybe October, November, like October, November of last year. It's something that specifically players like Lambo and I want to say Rainer was doing it as well. The only problem with that is that I heard that they were doing it a lot on the ladder, but it never like translated to competitive play, like against the Korean Protosses, against like Hero and Classic and Zaun and Max Packs even as well. So I heard it was happening a lot on the ladder, but it just didn't really work at the highest level. It kind of fell off. But that did kind of, there was a brief like era where that was happening a lot behind the scenes. I say behind the scenes, maybe you got to see it in Monday Night Weeklies. No, but even then, there's barely any Zerg players. So yeah, like it just... There was like a brief stint in the meta where it was really popular in ZVP, like November of last year. Bearing in mind that the patch hits mid-October, right? So it was like early days of the patch. Otherwise, oh my god, once again, fast layer. Sorry. There's a lot going on here. So we do have a much more standard opener. We have a 3cc 111, but the follow-up isn't standard. This is a macro Hellbat push. Armory has been thrown down. A Hellion production continues going into Marauder, so it's going to be Marauder Hellbats out of Percival. Remember, this is not an all-in. This is off of a 3rd CC. So it's 3cc Hellbat push. So not all in, but ideally you do want this to get damage done, of course. You do want this to cripple the Zerg player. And then macro behind this. Meanwhile, Shin did go for a very fast lair. This was what I want to say once again, like around a 3:30 lair timing, but this time early lair into a heavy Roach composition. I'll be honest, it feels like Shin is about to hard counter because he's going to be building up Roach Ravager against blind Hellbats. Marauders will help, but there's not going to be that many. The Marauders going to be there to help against the Queens. They're not meant to be there against the Roaches. Speaking of Marauders, they do focus on the first Queen. First Queen is going to be targeted, so nice pickoff, but we have Roaches amassing. Yeah, the Roaches are revealed. And with that, they should be able to kite back. They should be able to focus this down. As we're down to 3 Hellbats. Down to 3, clutch and fuse, down to 2. 2 Hellbats left, Medevac gets focused down, and with that, Shin holds. As Shin, he does hold on. As we mentioned before, this was meant to break a Link Queen defense, not a Roach Queen defense. Like, Shin was just blindly going Roaches. Like, so with that, the Roaches will shut this down, and Percival's in trouble. Percival is in trouble. He's trying to transition into Stim, into a heavy bio composition. Liberator is going to be focused down by the Spore, by the Queens. And now Shin can counterattack. Oof. As Marauder, I mean, really nice target firing. Marauder does get a Roach. Ravage is now morphing in, and you can see Shin is just all in. Shin is not droning. Shin 0 drones at the 3rd base. Sure, he got the lair, but didn't even invest into Roach speed. He just smells blood in the water. He knows that Percival is weak. He knows that Percival is vulnerable. Yeah, the boys are trying to help out. Biles here on the bunkers. The first bunker should fall. Oh, the mass repair. Never mind. Oh, never mind. Mass repair was good, but still not good enough. Second bunker gets piled down as well. And even if Percival barely holds on here, he's going to lose the entire mineral line. That's going to be 20 SCVs going down. 23 dead SCVs. Lings are rallying forward. Getting into all the remaining units, the remaining army. Oof. And Percival, he doesn't really have anything left. He's down to 2 Hellions and 1 Marauder. We have reinforcements coming in. Okay. We coming for this round. 27 dead workers. Oh, God. And at this point, we're coping. We're coping a little bit here because Percival, he is down to 25 SCVs. Now, one thing here for Percival, triple mules. he's got triple CCs. Triple mules is pretty good. It is pretty good. You know, that makes up for the economy. Percival even ahead. True, he's... the mules will help him when it comes to recovering, but he is down and almost out. He's struggling here on 2 bases, going to try to resaturate his natural. Shin back at home is freely mining on a 3-base economy. He was droning in the midst of the all-in, so he droned up his 3rd base. 4th base is now on the way. We have +2 carapace being resourced as we speak. So Shin, he's looking perfectly fine. And Shin should just gear up into wave 2. Now, is there a way for Percival to recover? The one downside of Shin's composition, because it's so roach heavy, it's a very immobile composition, so drop play can buy time. Drop play can buy time, you can get into the mineral lines, you can find some damage, but the roaches so far, they do run into the drop. Oof. Run into the medevac, catching our marines. And Shin is not droning. Shin is cutting workers at 3-base saturation. He's massing up Ling, Roach Ravager. He's getting ready for his push. He's getting ready for wave 2 to hit the 3rd. To hit the 3rd expansion. Now, Percival, he does have 2 tanks and no bunkers. No bunkers, limited Sim City. And again, Percival, he played well tonight. Remember, he forced Classic to the ace match. He even forced Shin to the ace match. Percival, he's one of those players that is an up-and-comer, that has been improving heavily, quickly, actually, over the past year. It's been very impressive to see his growth in 2025. But the builds were just really unfortunate. It was just really, really unfortunate builds here for Percival. I think I might even just say it was a build order loss. Yeah, I think I'd go that far. Like, build order losses, they're not too common in StarCraft 2, not anymore, but they do happen. As Biles, they focus on the first tank. They get 1, they get 2. There's 1 tank left. And 1 tank remaining here. There's no Hagar Vision tree. Shit, he can't see the tank. Contamination of the factory. There we go. The Overseer comes in. And Shin, he has done it. He has broken the 3rd base. He has broken the natural. GG gets called, and Shin will take the series 2-1, advancing on to the decider match. GG. GG, well played. Shin, he does claim the series, and again, it was just really unfortunate for Percival. Winding it back, if you maybe forgotten, if you weren't here for the start of the game, Percival, he blindly went for a 3cc Hellbat Marauder push. He blindly went for a Hellbat Marauder. Meanwhile, Shin blindly went for a fast lair into fast roaches. So we brought it up at the time, the Hellbat Marauder is ideal against Ling Queen, against a Ling Queen defense. That's what Percival was looking for. He showed up, and then bam, there were roaches. It was like, oh, there were roaches to defend instead. So the army got completely shut down, and then Shin was able to counterattack immediately. Was able to go for the counterattack and cripple Percival. So again, a bit of a build order loss there, as both players were blindly going into their builds, and Shin's was favored. Shin's was favored there. So GG, well played. With that, congratulations to Shin. He does advance on to the decider match. And with that, we can catch up on the bracket itself. Marauders are cost inefficient this matchup. I wouldn't say that. Like, Marauders, they have their role. They do quite well when it comes to a bio-based composition, or sorry, when it comes to, up against a Ling Bane-based composition, to tank Banelings to kite back. Likewise against Road Ravager as well. But once again, as you mentioned, like, it was just a really unfortunate position just because he was going for a very strong Hellbat timing, and again, he kind of blindly ran into a wall of roaches. Remember, he only had 2 Marauders. The goal there was for the Marauders to focus on the Queens, and they did get one of the Queens, and that for the Hellbats to protect them against Lings, but there were no Lings, right? There was very minimal Lings, just a heavier Roach count instead. So just a rough position there for Percival, but otherwise, we do have There we go. Our results coming in. So from the top, we have Creator. Creator, if you remember, he took down Shin earlier. Classic took down Percival. And up next, we have the winners match. It's going to be Creator versus Classic in a best of 3 PvP. Meanwhile, we have the decider match. Percival is now out of the tournament. Percival is out. Up next is going to be the PvP between Creator and Classic, and Shin will go up against the loser of that series for a final chance to make it through. For that final chance. But until then, we're going to be going on a short break. We're going to be cutting to a short break here. When we come back, we'll have a next series. We'll have that PvP. See you soon. See you soon after the break. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that lovely brutal OST as we've returned. We've returned here with Rongyi Cup Season 3, the group stage, Group C. We just wrapped up with the initial 3 matches here, and we are more than halfway through the broadcast. Again, going to be a little bit of a longer broadcast here tonight, but we have 2 series left. We have the winners match and the decider match to determine which 2 players will advance on into the playoffs. Up first, we have our PvP between Classic and Creator. Let's jump in. Let's jump into our PvP. Game 1 is going to be on the Old Republic. As a reminder, SHIN is waiting for the loser of this series. SHIN is lying in wait. As spawning in the bottom hand corner of the Republic, we have the red Protoss player. We have the red Protoss player himself. We have the South Green Protoss for Team Virtus Pro. It is Classic. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Protoss player, the blue Protoss himself. We have the South Green Protoss. It is a Creator. Here we go, our first mirror matchup of the broadcast, our first and only. And coming into this, we mentioned earlier that Classic was going to be pinned as the favorite player to make it through into the playoffs. He is one of the best Protoss players in the world. I would say he's top 2. He's top 2 Protoss alongside Hero. He's got his strengths, he's got his weaknesses, so does Hero as well. But in a PvP, anything can happen. We have seen Creator pop off. He has taken down players like Hero, like Classic in the past, and we'll see if Creator can do that again. Bearing in mind this is a best of 3, true. So best of 3, a bit of a shorter series here, so every little misstep, every little mistake does matter that much more. But now double gas opener out of Create. Oh, sorry, double gas. What did I say? I'm locked into a TVP in my mind, baby. Standard openers, double gates is what I meant to say. Double gate opener here by Creator, double gate opener out of Classic. We gotta lock in, baby. Gotta lock in. Classic does veer off towards the left hand side, so he is looking to potentially hide a pylon. Creator going for a regular scout. He does dip into the main base, is looking to confirm the positioning of the second pylon. Speaking of, Classic is ready to proxy. Second pylon has been thrown down, and Creator, he's aware. Creator, remember, his worker is here to look for the pylon, and he should soon confirm that a pylon is missing, that something isn't quite right. Something isn't right. It is now going to be elsewhere. The probe is kept in position. This looks like a prime location for a proxy Stargate more than anything. It does feel a little bit too far away for a robo. The probe is on patrol. Cybercore is now finishing. And never mind, I assumed it was too far away, but no, Classic, he commits into the robo. Classic commits into a 1 base all in. So 1 base all in by a red Protoss player. You can see that Creator, he is searching for the proxy, and based on the rally, it looks like he will find it. Remember, Creator, he knows that a pylon is missing, so he's looking, and he does find the robo. So big scout here, a big find. Again, I'm sure he was expecting a Stargate in this location more than anything, but now he has confirmed the robo, and he responds with his own robo back at home. A very nice setup here. Defensive robo is meant to shut down and counter proxy robo, as he'll have his own, he'll have the same production, except defensive, of course. He'll have his own immortal production as well, and we'll see if he can shut this down. Remember, Stalkers are on the way. They're on the way to depower the robo. Classic is aware. He throws down a second pylon to keep everything powered. Adepts, they try to move in. Adepts move in. Stalkers, they will win head on, but the Immortal's being chronoed. Third pylon. Throws down a third pylon. The first one is getting low. The first one should go down, but thankfully with extra pylons, the Immortal will still pop. Oof. As the Adept gets targeted, nice pickles here so far. The Creator gets the Adept, gets a pylon, confirms the Immortal, pulls away, and again is getting his own Prism first, not Immortal. It's going to be War Prism first. He's going to have that micro potential. Creator, he'll be able to juggle his units. Oh my god, his Adept barely gets away. Oh, 2 Adepts go down, pylon goes down. Rough pickles here so far. Classic, he has been struggling, but he still has his Immortal. The Prism is on the way as well. Classic going to try to move in, but again, we do have the micro potential here for Creator. He pulls away. Trigger the shields. Did trigger the shields on 1 base. He's on 3 gateways. Yeah, 3 gate setup. I believe Classic, he's on 2 himself. Creator, he wants that Immortal. He wants it. Oh no, Jesus. Rough position there, rough rally. Scary movement by Classic. He's gonna calm down. Calm down, Bappy, calm down. But I believe Creator should shut this down. Like, he's got plenty of Stalkers to work with. Ooh, takes down one of the Stalkers. There's one Immortal, one Stalker left. Sorry, there's a second Immortal behind this, with sentries, with force fields. Oh, doesn't get baited out. We'll lose one Stalker. So nice bait there by Classic, nice trap. So able to lock down Creator. Creator's going for the counter attack instead. Creator pulls away with the main army. His drop is making its way towards the main base. There's nothing at home to defend. Only one shield battery, potentially a recall or a defensive warp-in. Prism is coming. Shield battery is not yet done in the main base for Creator. Does force a pickup at the same time. He's going for the gateways. He's going for the gateways. Will depower both gateways. No more productions available here. Yeah, what you see is what you get. No more gateways, no more Stalkers. The boys are being pulled. Classic pushing towards the ramp. So Creator's being forced out of the main. Okay. He's going for the aggressive warp in. And again, Creator, he should have enough to break through. Ooh, late force field. And late reaction, late force field out of Creator. Ay, ay, ay. Classic gets in. Nice shuttling so far. The boys are being pulled, but the force fields are insane. Yeah, locks down the area, locks down the main. The Immortals are pushing in. Now the boys are being pulled. Creator's getting desperate. Just trying to get his own Immortal. Oh, but the boys, they get a full surround. Yeah, the boys are here, and with that, it looks like Creator, he should have enough to defend. Is still getting very close, but takes down the first Immortal. Across the map, there's still Stalkers. There's still Stalkers across the map. And diving on the Stalkers. Oof, one Stalker left. But now there are 3 Immortals, true. Yeah, there's 3 Immortals left over. Last the Immortal is trying to pull away. Just barely comes out on top though. Yeah, another Immortal pops out. Creator, he holds. Yeah, he holds back at home. GG gets called, and Creator, he shuts down the all-in. He takes game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played again. Hyper aggression out of Classic, going for the one base all-in, going for the proxy. Thankfully, Creator, he scouted. He scouted very, very early on, was able to shut it down. Remember, he killed both adepts, he killed the pylon, he delayed the follow-up, he was able to depower the gateways across the map as well, and he had plenty to work with back at home. It was still clutch, he still had to pull the boys, but in the end, he was able to defend with a high enough worker count. He maintained his economy. I could not say the same for Classic. He had so little back at home to defend. He had no NG for a recall, only 3 Stalkers. Not good enough. Not good enough. And with that, Creator takes the lead. And now we're going to be loading into game 2. Going to be loading into Winter Madness. No boy. Okay, we're loading into game 2 and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Winter Madness. We have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the Red Protoss representing Team Virtus Pro down in the series. We'll see if he can bounce back and force the ace match. It is a Classic. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the Blue Protoss player, the Blue Protoss himself. It is Creator. Leading the series 1-0. Oh boy. He's leading the series. And we'll see if Classic commits into another all-in. Again, Classic is very fond of proxy robo. We've already seen it once in this series. We could see it again. Whether it's game 2, whether it's potentially game 3. Eyes are on Classic. So far, it is going to be a 2-gate opener once again. 2-gate opener out of Classic, 2-gate opener out of Creator. Once again, my eyes are on this probe. Hello, Classic. Where are we headed? Where are we going? Classic, he veers off towards the left-hand side. Cybercore gets thrown down, and is this going to be a fake or a real proxy pylon? Looks like a fake. Yeah, pylon gets thrown down. This is strictly on classic side of the map, so this is not a location for a proxy robo. You can maybe proxy like a Twilight Council into Dark Shrine here or something like that, but you can see classic just abandoned this location, so this is mind games. Remember, creator, he's in the main. Creator, he's scouting in the main base. Creator, he knows that a pylon is missing, so it's looking just like game one. Looking just like in one, and I'm sure the creator would not put it past classic to go for the same build 2 games in a row. Yep, and already it's paying for itself. Second probe. Second probe moves out to scout, so creator is checking the top side of the map, looking for a proxy that doesn't really exist. Double stalker opener as well. Classic, sorry, creator, it looks like he may scout. The vision's gonna be close, and the probe, oh no, barely not. Barely doesn't see, barely does not scout the pylon. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, rough moment there for creator. He was so close. So close. And he's looking. You can see his stalkers are fanning out as well. Still trying to piece together what's going on. Thankfully, creator is still expanding. He calls his opponent's bluff, and he confirms that there is a base. So he sees the Nexus. Because of the early game, Classic space is a little bit earlier. So Classic has a slightly better economy, has a slightly faster base. Oh. As creator, oh, the body blocking. Nice body blocking, but not good enough. The Adept still goes down. Nice catch here from creator. We have a take of choice going for a Twilight Council. For both players, Blink. Blink is going to be on the way. We're settling into a longer game. We're expanding. We're building up. Again, we had a hyper aggression in game 1. Here in game 2, we're slowing things down and actually building up. Oh. As he does shade in, gets one, gets two. Two probes go down. We do see Classic playing it safe, going for his robo before expanding. And we do see Creator doing the same. So again, for the most part, mirrored builds. Mirrored builds here. We do have some slight deviations here and there. Some slight differences. Creator now expanding. So will Classic. And after an intense game 1, we are slowing things down quite heavily here in game 2. Building up into the mid game. From here, we'll keep an eye on the gases. We'll see if we go into a standard mid-game of Blink Stalker into Charge Lot, into Charge Lot Archon Immortal. Or if we go for an earlier timing attack. Likewise, Classic still has potential with these Adepts. Still has potential. So now we're just scouting each other. We're kind of entering one of like the more slower paced phases of PvP. It's a little bit similar to ZVZ, where in ZVZ you can end up in Roach versus Roach. Here you can end up in Stalker versus Stalker, where we're just kind of being passive and kind of doing our own thing. Yes, there's some Adept harass, but it is going to be shut down. Ooh, well, Adept does shade in. Maybe gets one or two probes. Gets one. Ah, just one. Just one probe kill. We have Charge on the way for a Classic. We should be seeing Charge from Creator as well. Right, getting there. Pastor Temple Archives. I should briefly explain as well what's kind of happening with the army compositions. So early on, Blink Stalkers are ideal. That is true. They're very cost efficient. They're very mobile. But as we get into actual army compositions, Zealots and Charge is so much more efficient. It's a much cheaper unit, and it tanks very, very nicely against a very Stalker heavy composition and Immortal as well. So Zealots are kind of like the meat of your army. They're kind of the buffer. They do well. So how do you counter mass Zealots? Archons, right? That's why we have the Temple Archives for both players, both Creator and Classic. You do need that Archon count to punish a heavy Zealot composition. Without Archons, you will just die. Technically, there are some players that mess around a little bit with, instead of going into Archon, they go into Colossus. They go into Colossus, or they go into, they try to skip and go into Disruptors instead. It's very, very risky trying to rush into Disruptors, but technically that is more efficient. It's just you're quite vulnerable early on because it's a very heavy tech commitment. So we have our armies rounding out against Blink Stalker with Zealots, Archons, Immortals. And once our players feel secure enough, and once they get up to a 4-base setup, they can start thinking about Disruptors. That's kind of a little bit later down the line. And again, there are some players that try to rush into Disruptors. It's a stylistic thing. There are some players that go into earlier mass Zealot timing attacks, and they stay on the lower gas counts and try to kill you early on before you build up your Archons. But our players are being very passive. Players being very, very passive, so we're just kind of macroing up. Alright, what do we have to work with? So we have an even Archon count, we have an even Immortal count. We do have Zealots in favor of a Creator. So Creator, he has more Zealots. Some more charges warping in. A lot of this will still come down to the Archon positioning. You don't want to aim your Zealots into Archons. You want to pull them back a little bit and try to deal with them early on. Oh! Prism gets caught out. Nice pickup. And again, Creator, he does have that army supply lead. Classic is up in probes. So Classic's been making more workers. Meanwhile, Creator more army. Gonna be diving in. The Archons are too far back. Yeah, we have two Archons not doing anything. So a fumbled assault here from Classic. Remember, the Archon range is quite low. They have to be forward. And Creator's collapsing in. Does veer off with those Zealots. Yeah, spreads out his Zealots. Pushing forward, blinking on forward on top of those Archons. And he will get all three. Yeah, all three Archons are going to go down. Again, we just had a very rough fight here for Classic. He gets overwhelmed. The Archons fall. The Zealots as well. And Creator, he's done it. He breaks the third. He breaks the fourth base as well. GG gets called. And Creator, he will take the series 2-0, being the first player to advance on into the playoffs. GG. GG, well played. Again, a relatively passive game 2 in comparison to game 1. Game 1 was very intense, and Creator successfully scouted Classic. Here in game 2, it did come down to the army positioning. Of course, Classic did overprobe. He did probe up to 67. Meanwhile, we saw that Creator cut workers earlier at 62, going for a very heavier Zealot army, going for an earlier push. But at the same time, we saw a really awkward engage from Classic. When the armies first clashed, Classic had two Archons behind his army, and they couldn't do anything. They were like bugging out, trying to push forward. They were out of range of the Zealots, so we saw a much more efficient fight out of Creator early on, getting on top of the Stalkers, getting on top of the first Archon as well, and it was just a really rough start to the fight, and everything happened very, very quickly there. Everything escalated quickly in favor of Creator. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations, Creator, he does advance on, and Classic gets knocked down to the decider match. Oh my god. Once again, to reiterate, I would have said that, I was saying that Classic was favored to make it out in first place. Was favored to make it out in first place, but no, he gets knocked down to the decider match instead, and it's going to be one final series between Classic and SHIN. Oh boy. Here we go. Again, the final series of the broadcast, the final matchup here to determine who will join Creator in those playoffs. Will it be another Protoss or a Zerg? Spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Ruby Rock, we have the red Protoss player. We have the red Protoss, we have the South Korean Protoss. Representing Protoss Pro, it is Classic. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the blue Zerg player, the blue Zerg player himself. It is SHIN. And welcome to Ruby Rock. Ruby Rock is one of the smaller maps in the map pool. Aggression is favored here, and I would not be surprised if we do see SHIN go for something more assertive. Likewise, Classic could as well. So eyes are on Classic, eyes are on SHIN. We'll see if SHIN goes for an earlier Roach Warren. We'll see if he goes for an earlier timing attack. Likewise, we'll see if Classic goes for an earlier Twilight Council. Oh boy. Again, rush distance by ground is quite short. The third base is quite accessible. The area here outside of the natural is also very accessible as well. We have seen a lot of German taxis, for example, which is a Roach Queen drop load all in. So we'll see. Protoss. True. PvP imba, baby, imba. True. But yeah, that last game just came down to one big engage. PvP unwinnable. Ah. Not wrong. So far we have our standard openers that the probe does move out across the map, and again, we'll keep an eye on the gases, we'll keep an eye on the tech. Let's go. SHIN did show some quirkier builds previously, but again, he was doing a lot of that against Percival. It was actually Creator who was being more dynamic against SHIN in their first matchup, with Creator going for the Robo Opener into Soul Train, 2-base all in. We saw Creator going into and committing into Glaive Adepts. We saw one standard game out of Creator in Game 3. Where, if you remember, Creator, he went for a standard opener, Stargate into triple Oracle into a third, into double Robo, double Colossus production. And he was able to snowball out of control with a heavy Robo composition in the mid game. And SHIN did struggle. Curious if Classic was watching. If he was watching those matches. We'll see. So Classic does break in. Dirk's in. Again, did go for the Stargate opener. Is going for the Oracle, not Void Ray. And the Overlord of that SHIN should be able to confirm. So the Overlord is getting in position. Position here as we do see Classic shade into the mineral line. 2 adepts taking one-shot drones. SHIN does pull away in time, and SHIN, he may lose one. Does lose one. One drone goes down for 2 adepts. A better trade for SHIN. So SHIN, he defends well. The Oracle is on the way. We have 2 queens here at the natural. We have a Spore on the way in the main. SHIN, for the most part, is ready. Because Classic lost both adepts, that means his third base is exposed. But the Oracle's in position. If the Oracle had left, then these links could have forced a cancel. But the Oracle's in position. Classic defends. The downside is that Classic is not across the map killing drones. Right? He's not threatening the mineral lines. But now he's able to wait for his second Oracle. Now he can move out. And 2 Oracles, they can one-shot drones. They can one-shot. Meanwhile, we have a 4:13 minutes lair timing. Oh no! The Oracles are going over the Queens, taking a lot of hits. They do get 3 drones. 3 drones go down, but they do not scout the lair timing. Again, very fast lair. Now, we have seen fast lair into fast Hydras out of SHIN. True, we have seen him already showcase that previously in tonight's broadcast. So I'm leaning towards an early Hydra timing and a Hydra all-in without any Evo chambers. Is what I'm expecting, which we have seen before. If you remember, coming into Ruby Rock, we expected to see an all-in. And my eyes are still on SHIN. Meanwhile, standard follow, we have the Evo chain, sorry, we have the Forge, we have the Twilight Council, plus on and Blink. Standard follow-up out of Classic. Lair is done, and there it is. Yep, fast hydrogen. Fast hydrogen, no Evo chambers. Does look like a Ling Hydra all in. The reasoning for that, so we explained this previously, but because there are no Evo chambers, there are no upgrades. And it may be the case that Shin has no intention to get into any upgrades, as there's no intention for the game to last that long. As the Oracles, they try to poke in, they see no tech here at the natural. Yep, Shin is making overlords, mass Hydras on the way. Shin is cutting workers at 56. And if they don't get into the main, Shin, he's revealing nothing. And he's not even getting a fourth. Usually, I expect to see a fourth base just for Larva. The Oracles are denying mining. Oh, getting 6 drone kills. Ay. When you're going for an all-in like this, again, every drone counts. And he scouts, he sees. Yeah, he sees the Hydras. He's now aware of the Lair. He's now aware of the Hydras. Back at home, we need shield batteries. There's a lot of things that are being shaved off. There it is. Batteries now on the way. As we mentioned, he did a scout. He did confirm. We have 2 batteries at the third base. And Shinny's coming. The all-in is upon us. Shinny's rallying across the map. The wall's open. The wall's not a wall. Lings, they flood into the main. They flood into the main base. Classic out of position. The main army does hit the third. Classic being pulled apart. Being pulled in between the bases. Oracles, they defend the main. Shield batteries are being denied. There's 1 battery left over. Hydra range is now done. And Shin, he might have enough here. It's still getting quite close. Charge is complete, actually. Oh, it's +1 in charge. Not blink. Uh-oh. Yeah, it was not blink. Zealous, they're going to completely shut this down. My apologies. I did actually overlook that, but it was charge, not blink. And with that, Classic holds. Yeah, Classic completely cleans this up here. Again, against Ling Hydra, charge, they'll say, trades so efficiently. If there were Banelings or Roaches, different story. But Zealous, they completely shut this down. If this was against Blink Stalkers, then Shin would have had a much stronger position here. But there's no Blink, there's no Stalkers. And the all-in is failing. The all-in is failing. Shin, things are looking dire. As time goes on, it's getting worse and worse for Shin. Classic is working on +2. Classic is working on Storm. Remember, Shin doesn't even have a 4th base. Shin has a worse economy. He's down economically, even on bases, down in upgrades. Shin, he has no other option. It's all in or all in. Like it's and he's setting up. He's gearing up for round 2. He's gearing up for round 2. This creep is spreading. Storm is going to be ready. It's finishing up in 5 seconds. And all Classic needs is half-decent Storms. Oh god, they're pretty good. The Storms are pretty good, Pappy. Oh god. Yeah, the Ling Hydra's melting. Classic, he does hold. Oh god, another Storm lands. Yeah, Storms land. GG gets called, and Classic, he takes game number 1. GG. Whew, GG, well played. Again, Shin, he was blindly going for an all-in. He was going for a fast lair. It was, remember, it was a 4-13, or even earlier than that. We had an early lair timing into our gases, into only 3 bases, very low drone count as well, 53 drones, less than 3 base saturation, into purely Ling Hydra. And just to re-emphasize, the goal of this build is to catch a player playing standard. What is standard? Triple Oracle into a third, into +1 Blink Stalker, right? Into +1 and Blink. And I would say that Shin did a great job at hiding his Hydras. Like, he only ever really showed Lings. It took Classic a long time to get into the main base to confirm what was going on. Unfortunately for Shin, Classic went into charge himself. He went into a charge-based composition, not a Blink Stalker-based composition, so he kind of had the ideal. He had the ideal army against what Shin had. GG. So GG, well played. With that, Classic was able to shut him down, and now we're going to be loading into game 2. Going to be loading into the Old Republic. Remember, this is the best of 3. Classic needs 1 more win here to advance on. Shin has to fight back here and now to force the ace match. As spawning in the top right-hand corner of the Old Republic, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the Red Protoss leading the series 1-0 for Virtus Pro. It is Classic. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the blue Zerg player, the South Korean Zerg, down in the series. We'll see if he bounce back. It is SHIN. Here we go. SHIN is so dead in this one. Classic is so good at holding anything. Oh, as we mentioned, like, Classic didn't play standard, right? Classic, he blindly went into charge, which is ideal against SHIN's all-in. As I mentioned, if SHIN was going into Ling Bane, if SHIN was going into Roaches, then he'd be in a better position, but it was a Ling Hydra all-in, so Classic was able to hard counter. He was able to hard counter. And again, I do think that SHIN did a great job at hiding the build, but Classic, again, he was already going to charge anyway. And now we're getting into game 2. Welcome to a larger map. This is a much larger map, longer rush distance by ground. There's a higher chance that we could see Muta play out of SHIN, or we could see something more macro-oriented. And I say more macro-oriented, ideally 3-base aggression is stronger on the Old Republic. Why is that? Because it's the 4th base that's exposed. Whether it's the linear 4th base or the triangular 4th base, these 4 bases are much more exposed, so I do expect to see SHIN drone up to 3-base saturation. If you're curious, that is 66 workers. So last game he droned up to 2.5 base, he droned up to 53. This time we're expecting at least 66 workers, at least a 4th base just for larva, and then we could see SHIN be aggressive. And try to break the 4th, even try to break the 3rd. But we'll see. Meanwhile, Classic can just play standard. He can we can just see Stargate opener. This pylon is an interestingly placed pylon. This could just still be for a Stargate. Very often we see pylons closer to the edge of the main, just so it takes less time for the Oracle to get across the map. To see it a little bit closer here between the bases might be indicative of something different, but that's still the Stargate. Interesting. It is still the Stargate. It is a little bit... It does stand out that the Stargate is placed where it is, and okay, he's rallied across the map. If you saw the initial rally, one of the things we could have seen here is that Classic makes an Oracle, and then he makes a second Oracle, and he banks them up back at home, and he makes it look like he's going for a Twilight Council opener instead. Then he hides the Oracles, and then bam, he surprises his opponent, who happens to skip their spores. But now, based on the re-rally, it looks like just standard opener, Oracle. But there are builds where you intentionally keep your Oracles at home. But it looks like that won't be the case here. As the Oracle's on the way, again, he's rallied across the map. SHIN, of course, is in the dark. He does have an Overlord attempting to get in position. Overlord moves out on the right-hand side. I just realized, is that an Ultraless skeleton? Is that like it? Okay. Okay. Meanwhile, Classic gets into the natural Nevada. He gets 1, he gets 2. Does he get 3? Ooh, 3 drones go down. A much better trade here for Classic compared to last game. Last game he got 1 drone. This time he gets 3. Classic taking his 3rd base. And so far, everything's just standard from our Protoss. Meanwhile, SHIN, early Evo Chamber. Okay, Evo Chamber first. This is an indication of a standard game. Evo Chamber into +1 melee into Ling and Bane Hydra. So far, that looks to be the case here. Oh. SHIN does main out over. Saturating his bases. Oh, there's no spore in position, so we do punish. 3 more drones go down. Oh, we do punish the punish, though, as he does pick off one of the Oracles. Yeah, SHIN is holding on, snipes one of the Oracles. The other does barely get away. So a bit of a back and forth trade here. Classic kills 5 drones, but for the cost of 1 Oracle. Meanwhile, we do have the 3rd Oracle arriving, and we have a 4th Oracle on the way. Again, Oracles have a lot of value here in this matchup. Lings, they counterattack, they hit the 3rd. Classic, he just shaded across the map. And that will cost Classic a pylon. But the Oracles, they race back home to defend. The Classic is still pushing. Back at home, what is there here in the middle line? We have 3 queens, but the Lings are across the map. Classic, he has arrived. Shin, he's racing back home. Nice body blocking with the queens. Does body block. Zones away the Adepts. And even kills one. Again, very nice micro here by Shin. And once again, just like last game, charge instead of blink. Now, fun fact, this is becoming a little bit more trendy. If you remember, we casted Serral versus Hero last week in Thunderfire, in the Thunderfire tournament, the big event that happened in China. If you remember, what did Hero do? How did he beat Serral? Every game, charge. Every game he went charge, every game he did not go blink, and Serral had a really hard time adapting. So this is something that Hero has been very fond of, and so far Classic has done this twice in this series. So this, in my mind, this might be an indication I did mention previously of the meta shifting a little bit here. If Hero is doing nothing but this and beating Serral with this, we can see Classic doing something very similar as well. Veering away from blink openers and veering towards charge heavy play instead. So we have charge on the way, we have Archons amassing as well, no storm yet. But again, the heavier Zealot army is more ideal against Ling Hydra, getting into storm, again it all just kind of naturally flows together. And Classic is pushing. Now, Shin, does he have a Baneliness? He does. Okay, Baneliness is done. Does he have any Banelings ready? He has no Baneling speed, and he has his Lings across the map. Ooh, he has no Banelings. He has no Banelings ready back at home. The army has arrived. The charge is done. And this base is going to go down. Yeah, there's no saving this. Baneling speed only just now began. Without Banelings, it's going to be a tough hold. Yeah, it's going to be a very tough defense. And remember, I believe there is no Roach Warren. Yeah, no Roach Warren. So nice kill here from Classic. Snipes the base, pulls away. Snipes the expansion, pulls back home. Classic does turn around. Storm is now done, and now he can start pushing again. Let's go to Storm. Prism Harasser at the natural. Shin out of position. He does react. And won't lose too many workers. Okay. Nice defense. Shin is keeping up with the aggression with the Prism. At least trying to. Oh! Oh my god. Prism barely does get away. And I'm still really concerned here for Shin. Shin's army is so fragile. He does have Baneling speed. I don't see any Banelings yet. Without Banelings, he can't really engage. He needs those Banelings to clean up the Zealots and to get on top of the High Templar to force out storms. Purely Ling Hydra is just going to get annihilated. Pappy, where are the Banelings? Okay, we have 8 Banelings morphing in, but they're going for a run-by. There we go. Jesus, that's like 22 Banelings morphing in. 8 of them are across the map. So Banelings are coming online. Shin is choosing not to take up into lurkers, so it's purely going to be Ling Bane Hydra. This is again still a very fragile composition. It's very much so a glass cannon from Shin. War Prism got caught out. The Archons, they punish the Banelings. So the way this works here is that the Archons want to be tanking. The Archons, they do tank and they do trade very well against Ling Pain. You want to preserve the Zealots and pull them back so they don't get hit by the Banelings. Once the Banelings go down, then the Zealots can just reign free. Speaking of, Banelings get caught. Storm zones away. Storms are zoning. Nice stasis traps here on the Lings, creating a wall. Another storm with the Ling Bane. Banelings are trying to connect, they're trying to rush on forward. We get some decent connection on the Zealots. But there are so many storms left over. High Templar pull away. There's still, what, 3 more storms. Shin is all in. Yeah, Shin is committing. He's committing. I say he's all in. He's on 81 drones, true, but he has no hive. Shin, he has no hive, he has no lurkers. He's purely on a lair tech composition. It's just purely main Hydra, nothing but Ling main Hydra. And Shin is standing, sorry, Classic is standing his ground. And Bailey's they crash into Archons. Ah, they do bring down most of the Archons though. There's 2 Archons left. Shin regrouping and going for wave 3. And again, it's all or nothing for Shin. If Shin fails to break Classic, then Shin will just lose. Because Shin will just be outscaled. Speaking of outscaling, Fleet Beacon. Fleet Beacon's on the way. Sky Toss is on the horizon. The longer this game goes on, the better it is for Classic. Ooh, and Shin, he does turn everything around. Queens are going down. This is buying more time. We can see Classic setting up all the shield batteries and cannons. Again, Classic knows all he has to do is defend. Bailing's just trying to roll in. Once again, the Archons, they tank well. Oof. Yeah, one Bailing does connect, but there's still plenty of storms. And the Hydras are on their own. This is where Zealots can excel. Oh, High Templar there, extend. One Templar goes down. Oh my god. Nice Bailing connections. Where are the Zealots? They went down. Shin, can he do it? Takes down the High Templar. 0 storms remaining. Get on top of the Immortals as well. And Shin, can he force that ace match? At the same time, Zealots, they hit the middle line. Drones are going down. Classic, he barely holds on. Classic defends. Classic attacks. 7 drone kills. Oh, and Shin is forced to re-drone. He's forced to re-drone, forced to resaturate. Fleet Beacon is now done, which means we can work towards the mothership. Yep, there it is. Mothership's on the way. And this is looking rough here for Shin. As I mentioned, Shin is all in. Another Zealot run by. Shin, he turns everything back around. Okay, this was 3 Zealots, by the way. 3 Zealots. Shout out to the War Prism. And this is giving Classic some breathing room to throw down all these stasis traps, more cannons, more shield batteries. Mothership is halfway done. The Zealots, they do hit the base once again. Shin is getting frustrated. Tries to commit in. Nice Aces. Stasis goes off. The Archons, they shut down the Bailings. Yeah, the Bailings, they do not make it through. Oh god, Brutal Storm. Yeah, Storms are landing on the Hydras, and Shin, he's gonna lose everything. Shin, he tries to commit in. GG gets called. The all-in fails, and Classic will take the series 2-0, advancing on into the playoffs. GG. GG, well played. I expected to see hyper aggression out of Shin. In my mind, it was going to be on a lower drone count on 66, but instead Shin drone up to 81. 81 drones, 4 base saturation, 4 base all in out of Shin. And as we were emphasizing, the longer the game went on, the worse it became for Shin, as the game was not meant to last that long. He was meant to have killed Classic by then, and he was trying his best, but we saw some brutal storms. Again, we saw some really rough connections with the Bailings, as they were often being tanked by the Archons. Really nice unit micro there out of Classic, defending with the bare minimum, making sure those storms did matter, did connect, and also ensuring that the Archons would tank as best they can and protect the High Templar from those Bailings. So very nice control there by Classic. The MVP was the War Prism, the Zealot Harass. The Zealot Harass was achieving so much, killing workers, distracting Shin, and giving Classic more time as well. GG. GG, well played. And with that, congratulations. Congratulations here to Classic, as it does claim the series 2-0, and Classic will advance on alongside Creator. There it is. There it is. My condolences here to our Zerg and Terran player, as Shin, he went down to Creator earlier and of course went down to Classic. Shin is out. Percival also went down to Classic and went down to Shin in the elimination match. So Percival and Shin are out of the tournament. Creator and Classic will advance on into the playoffs. Oh boy. GG well played. GG well played. Bearing in mind, there's still Group D. Group D is still yet to go on. It's actually taking place at the moment as we speak. We're going to be casting Group D via replays tomorrow. So tomorrow we're going to be catching up on those replays in around 12 hours. In 12 hours time, or really 11 hours time, we're going to be live on this channel with Group D. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. When it comes to our schedule here, bam. This is actually our current week's schedule. We just wrapped up with our evening broadcast of Rongyi Cup, and again we're going to be live in 11 hours with some more Rongyi Cup action as well. Once again, I do apologize for not casting and not being available as much in January. We've already spoke about it last stream, but again, some things have been happening IRL and we just haven't been available. That's why I'm not able to cast Rongyi Cup live. Again, Rongyi Cup Group D is happening right now. Usually I'd be able to cast it live, but I'm not available. I'm unavailable. I have to go spend time and look after my pets, my bunnies. Again, we've had some medical issues, so I have to look after them, have to make sure I'm there for them. So I do apologize for that. So as a result, our casting has been very inconsistent January, and it's probably going to be the case in February as well. It's going to be the case in February. I announced this in the morning, but I'll say this here. We have been the B stream for Home Story Cup for the past couple of years, for like 4 years at this point, but we will not be able to cast Home Story Cup this weekend. Home Story Cup is going to be this weekend, and I'd love to cast it, but we will not be available. We'll be looking after our bunnies. There's going to be an operation basically the day of Home Story Cup, so won't be able to be there, won't be able to cast. So I do apologize. We most likely will be casting Home Story Cup via replays after the fact at a later date, as a heads up. So we'll cast it via replays instead, but we won't be able to cast it live. Just a bit of a PSA. When it comes to the rest of this week's schedule, very quickly, we do have, let's see here, we do have Rongyi Cup. That's going to be, and again, that's going to be in around 11 hours time. We have OC Rising Star on the 27th. We have Rongyi Cup playoffs on the 27th as well, on the 28th, and on the 29th. So plenty of StarCraft on the horizon. There's a chance that we will not be casting this weekend though. The 30th, 31st, and the 1st of February, we are potentially going to be unavailable, so we'll see. We'll try to fix up our schedule and try to fit everything. Otherwise, I do apologize. And with that, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Again, this is a massive tournament, $21,000 prize pool, and the group stage is still ongoing. So do take care, and we'll see you guys next time. Until then, do give some love to Uwu Thermal. He is live at the moment. Casting some 2v2s. He's running his 2v2 circuits. He's playing in 2v2s. So give him some love, give him some support. Great guy. Otherwise, we'll see you guys next time. You can also support us via Patreon, !Patreon in the chat. Our Patreon does fund our tournaments. Once again, I do apologize for our events being a little bit inconsistent in January, but coming into March and coming into late Feb, everything should be back on track. Everything should be as it should be. Fingers crossed. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Patreon. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. We do appreciate it. If you missed out on some of these casts and if you want to watch them live, then check out the VODs. Over on YouTube. !Socials or !YouTube in the chat. Our VODs are uploaded on a daily basis, so plenty of content over on YouTube. Do check it out. Otherwise, we'll see you guys tomorrow for Rongyi Cup Group D. See you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Until next time. Ciao, papi, ciao. Until next time.